Every player in the game is grinding 16 hours a day trying to find the best loot. Jong just reads the group chat. It is a secret monster chat group where all monsters brag about where they have hidden the best loot so that no player will be able to find it. They forgot to check who else was in the group, so using this opportunity Jong goes to that spot and grabs all the best loot. Then when a group of absolute bottom of the adventurer food chain suddenly face an elite S-rank monster, everyone is scared and wants to just run away. But one of them isn't scared and instead rushes towards the S-rank monster alone to fight it. Others mock him, call him stupid for going to fight against an elite S-rank monster while just being a level 2 F-ranker. Another says that why is this guy charging in all by himself and that you need a party of at least 10 people to fight an elite monster. Another says to ignore him, that he has a death wish and that they'll pick up the gear he drops later. However, the guy who is going ahead says that a death wish. This game might just be a pastime to them all, but to him, this is his path to survival. As he goes ahead, the monster roars and prepares to attack, but he immediately dodges by jumping. Then the notification system says that he is poisoned, HP -5 per second, duration 60 seconds. Then another guy watching says that is he crazy, trying to solo an elite monster at level 2. Another says that if that sword drops, it's his. Then once again, we see that guy trying to fight the monster. He swiftly goes towards the back of the monster, and then he thinks, I have insight. With his sword prepared, he immediately goes for a critical hit, which deals triple damage, -48. And then he takes out another sword with chains. The people watching him react, with one saying that 48 points of damage on only the second day since the beta started, and someone is already dealing this kind of damage. But even that amount of damage is nothing against an elite monster. Another watcher says that did he just stick something into the ground? Then we see the fighter once again getting hit by the monster. As he flies away, he takes -25 HP, and then due to the poison, his HP keeps dropping, -5, -5. Later, he uses an item on himself and thinks that, as expected of an elite monster, just the passive damage from the poison is almost bleeding him dry, and he can't drag this out. Then a notification shows the player's name, Grand Dream, unclassed, attributes, level 2, HP 55 out of 100, mana 95 out of 100, defense 2, luck 0. Then the player once again starts rushing towards the monster and attacking, dealing double damage, 24, triple damage, 33, triple damage, 45, and once again triple damage, 45. Then the monster once again tries to attack. However, this time the attack is quite fast and swift, so the player blocks it but gets thrown back, taking a critical hit of -50 HP. The people watching say that, hey buddy, are you still alive, and that he shouldn't push himself because if he dies, he can just try again. However, the player once again starts rising, saying that it figures it's an elite monster and that a little more damage would have wiped him out immediately. He once again prepares to go ahead with his chains and sword and says that that's just about enough for a warm-up. Then he starts utilizing a lot of swords using his chain. The swords go everywhere, surrounding the monster, which is now confused. But then suddenly, the player reveals what he was about to do, and he soon binds the whole monster with his chains. The notification says that it is a weakened poison spider elite monster, level 2, attack 1725, defense 0, HP 50 out of 700. The other people watching are quite surprised. One of them says that there's no way the elite monster's defense became 0. Another says that did this guy's trap really work just by using a few rusty iron swords from the beginner village? Another says to look, it really can't move anymore, and wonders how this person knew the elite monster's weakness. Then, with a sword in hand, the player rushes once again towards the monster to deliver the final blow, saying that the elite monster's first kill will be his. As he slices the monster down, a notification appears saying that world message. Congratulations to player Grand Dream for achieving the first kill of the elite monster, Poisonous Spider. Fireworks go up in the air. As people watch this, they say that, oh my god, it's the server's first kill. Everybody is quite surprised, as they were not expecting this. A notification says that Grand Dream? They've never heard of this ID before. Another comment says that they wonder what rewards he got and that a server-wide broadcast must mean the rewards are pretty good. Another says that what's the big deal, it's probably just some rich kid who paid to win and bought gear. Another says that there's no way, since the game is supposed to be fair and not pay to win, and that even while playing a game, they can feel the disparities of the world. As we see the player take off his helmet, he looks quite tired. Then he says that his name is Zhang Lu and that he only has 6 months left to live. He says he is suffering from an incurable disease called myasthenia-like syndrome. He explains that the doctor said that with medication support, he could live for another 2 years, but he lives in a poor, old district, and his family can no longer afford his medical expenses. Right at that moment, an old friend he met online many years ago sent him a message that changed his destiny. Then we are shown a message from Hua Xiaoqian, who says that here's a gift for him, and that perhaps there's an opportunity for him to survive in it. Zhang Lu then says that New Origin is a global virtual game created from a spiritual world discovered by scientists inside a meteorite. He explains that once launched, it swept the globe, and it was even discovered that awakened individuals in the real world can master stronger spiritual power and talents through cultivating in the game. He adds that strangely enough, during the game's beta testing phase, he was pulled into a chat group. In the chat group, we see the name Wild Monster Chat Group. Little White Rabbit says that this beginner village is so boring and asks if there is no one there. Little Spider says that it's the same for them, but players will be coming soon. Little White Rabbit asks if they can go play with them now. Little Spider says no, explaining that they bounce around too much and that poisonous spiders are most afraid of vibrations. Then Jianglu says that the ones in the group don't seem to be people from the real world. Instead, they are monsters in the game. Then we see more messages from the Wild Monster Chat Group. Pointy-eared Treyant says that Little White Rabbit's tribe will be the first to face the players and warns them to be careful not to lose the Heavenly God's secret treasure. Little White Rabbit tells Treyant not to worry and says that it is buried under the big locust tree in the beginner village. Nobody knows. After saying this, Jiang Lu thinks that by observing their conversations, he discovered a lot of information about the game. At first, he was half skeptical, but he never expected that after digging based on the clues, he would find something crazy. Then, as he follows those clues, a notification says that he has obtained the Heavenly God's secret treasure. Another notification says that he has obtained the Amethyst Sword. The Amethyst Sword is black iron tier gear with attack 10 to 15, agility 10, and an equip level of 2. Another notification says that he has learned the unique skill Eye of Insight. Eye of Insight proficiency is 0 out of 10,000. This passive ability allows him to observe weaknesses and deal lethal attacks. Orange deals double damage, red deals triple. The cost is 1 mana per second. After all this, Jiang Lu starts thinking that, by using the information in the group, he could become stronger quickly. Then he keeps reading more and more messages from the Wild Monster Chat Group. Little White Rabbit says that who did it and that the Heavenly God's secret treasure is missing, sounding furious. Then Jiang Lu thinks that he wants to become stronger, that he wants to survive and then take care of his family, who are also poor. Then we see a memory of a guy saying that brother, he will work hard to earn money to cure his illness. Another calls out to him as brother. Then someone speaks to his father, saying that Luer, mom, is incapable and sorry to him. Jiang Lu then says that he wants to leave this hellhole, that this is his last dose of medicine, and that he can hold on for another 3 days. He says that New Origin might be his last chance. As he takes the medicine, he focuses himself, goes back, and starts reading the Wild Monster Chat Group again. Little White Rabbit says that with luck 10, people might not believe it, but there is an update coming in a few days, and a lot of big shots are going to debut. Sand Snake says that yes, he also heard that Great Emperor and Supreme Tier figures are gradually going to debut, and some will even visit the beginner village. Little White Rabbit then asks why big shots like them would come to their beginner village. Silver Moon Wolf Cub says that everyone should try hard to get close to these big shots because they hold countless inheritances and resources in their hands. After hearing this, Jiang Lu thinks about big shots, inheritances, and resources. Then he once again wears the VR helmet, and a notification says that he has entered the New Origin game world and wishes him a pleasant game. There, he thinks that he hurriedly logged off earlier after collecting the gear dropped by the rare monster. Now at level 4 as Grand Dream, he thinks that he should see what good stuff he got. Then the notification shows his loot. Elite Light Armor, Black Iron Tier Gear with Defense 10, Equip Level 4, Elite Cloak, Black Iron Tier Gear with HP 77, Equip Level 4, and Elite Ring, a Silver Tier item with Luck 10 and Mana 110, Equip Level 4. Jiang Lu thinks that it's an Elite set and even a Silver Tier item, just as expected from an Elite monster drop. Suddenly, someone appears and says hello to Master and introduces themselves as the System Spirit, congratulating him on obtaining the first person to get first kill title and asking him to confirm his rewards. Then a notification explains the title rewards: HP plus 100 and Mana plus 100, along with a passive skill called 3 Rings, where attacking the same target makes the third hit guaranteed to deal critical damage. This makes Jiang Lu quite happy, and he says that 3 Rings guarantees a critical hit on the third attack and wonders what kind of god tier skill this is. He says it's too awesome but worries that it might be too flashy, so he asks the System Spirit to hide his name, level, and title. A notification then briefly shows level 4 Grand Dream with the first person to get first kill title, along with his HP, Mana, defense, and luck stats. After his name is hidden, he feels relieved and says that it's much better now. He then wonders that if he got such good gear from the first elite monster kill, what it would be like to take down a boss monster. The System Spirit explains that the gear dropped by special monsters varies depending on their tier. In the early stages of the game, before players reach level 20, Black Iron tier items are already considered top tier gear, and Silver tier items have an extremely low drop rate. According to currently available information, the gear tiers from lowest to highest are Crude Gear, Black iron tier gear, silver tier gear, gold tier gear, platinum tier gear, and diamond tier gear. The spirit explains that generally speaking, based on the difficulty of subjugation, gear dropped by a boss monster will be superior to that of a rare monster, and gear dropped by a rare monster will be superior to that of an elite monster. After seeing all this and understanding it, Zhang Lu says that he sees. Then he notices a lot of people behind him. One of them calls out to Big Brother Jiang Tianxia and points him out as the guy. The Big Brother reassures him that as long as the information is true and the matter is settled, he will arrange for him to join their Jong-Hang clan. Then he addresses Zhang Lu, saying that the gear he is wearing looks pretty good and that they are curious, asking if he can take it off and let them have a look. All of them are around level 5 or 6 warriors. However, Zhang Lu simply says that he is sorry and that he is in a hurry. The others immediately step in front of him and say that their boss wants to see his gear and that it is an honor, telling him not to be ungrateful. Zhang Lu just smiles and says that what if he doesn't show them, asking if they want to take him out and rob him. The leader laughs and says that there is nothing their Jong-Hang clan has set its sights on that they haven't gotten. He calls him a kid and says he will teach him a lesson, explaining that if someone has strength, they can do whatever they want, and if they don't, they need to keep their head down. He then tells him to prepare himself. He pulls out his big sword and says that the kid should consider himself unlucky. As he swings his sword, Zhang Lu immediately jumps and asks the system spirit how the pain sensation in the game is configured. The system spirit replies that it is equivalent to 5% of real-world pain sensation. Zhang Lu says he understands and tells the spirit to step back, and the spirit immediately leaves. Zhang Lu then thinks that he cannot be careless, that the poisonous spider's attack earlier had already triggered his myasthenia-like syndrome. Even in the game, he still needs to do his best to dodge incoming damage. He realizes that he hasn't used the attribute rewards from leveling up twice in a row, 10 attribute points, and decides to allocate all of them to agility. With his stats improved, the robbers move in to attack him. One of them shouts to be careful not to damage his gear. As they all jump at him, Zhang Lu quickly retreats and thinks about using Eye of Insight with the 3 rings combo. He then says that they should worry about themselves first. Then we see a lot of damage numbers flying around. One of the defeated guys shouts that it's impossible and that he got one shot by gear and equipment. As another guy sees Zhang rushing toward him, he thinks about how this is even possible, wondering how someone could have such damage and speed in the beginner phase. The others rush at Zhang because they want to rob him and don't want to be humiliated, but suddenly Zhang moves behind them and attacks. He starts dealing double damage again and again, along with critical hits. As one enemy tries to slice him, Zhang counters, dealing more double damage with another critical hit. The enemy swings again, but Zhang dodges easily and comments that his defense is quite high. The enemy cries out and swings once more, but Zhang dodges again and strikes back, dealing double damage -8, double damage -9, and then a triple damage critical hit of -66. Zhang thinks about using Eye of Insight with the 3 rings combo. The enemy warns the boss to watch out, saying that this kid's skills are bizarre. Zhang then looks at the boss and says that it's his turn now. The boss immediately grabs one of his own men and pushes him forward as a shield. The guy panics and reminds him that they had a deal, saying that he told them Zhang's location in exchange for joining the Jong-Hang clan. But Zhang doesn't hesitate. He attacks again, dealing double damage, triple damage, and then a triple damage critical hit of -99. Zhang thinks that the boss is actually using his own companion as a human shield. He quickly moves behind the boss. The boss turns around angrily and shouts that he'll hack him to the end. As the battle continues, Zhang keeps landing hits, triple damage, double damage, chipping away at the boss. Even though the boss has high defense, the continuous attacks add up, and soon Zhang lands another triple damage critical hit of -50. Zhang then slips behind the boss once more to surprise him and says that he is right. As he strikes again, he adds that having power truly means you can do whatever you want. The boss, defeated, says that he will remember Grand Dream and swears that someday he will make him meet a very ugly end. After the fight, Zhang moves forward as notifications appear showing the gear he picked up. Tiger Skin Short Dagger, crude grade with attack 3 to 9 and equipment level 3. Knight's Armor, crude grade with defense 5 and equipment level 3. And Swift Boots, black iron tier gear with agility 9 and equipment level 4. Then Zhang says that these boots add agility, just what he needs, and that it's time to head back to the beginner village to resupply. At the beginner village, under the trees, he thinks that there are so many new NPCs there and wonders if the big shot mentioned in the group could really be among them. He decides to check if anyone has encountered any special people. Then a notification appears in chat. One player says that isn't the beginner village supposed to be a safe zone and asks how they got force killed by an NPC. Another reacts in disbelief, saying that there's no way. Another confirms that it's true, saying it was a crazy woman and demanding an explanation from New Origin official. The moment Jiang sees these messages, he thinks that getting killed by an NPC in the beginner village shouldn't be possible and starts wondering what's going on. Suddenly, a woman approaches and asks him if that food is delicious. Jiang keeps looking, and the shopkeeper proudly says that he made it himself using honey and wheat flour specially gathered from the Misty Mountains, asking how it could not be delicious. The woman reacts with excitement, but the shopkeeper immediately tells her to go away and not ruin the mood for his afternoon tea. Jiang thinks that this feels like such a cliché storyline and wonders if she could actually be the big shot mentioned in the group. The woman then starts crying, saying that she is very hungry and hasn't eaten anything in 3 days. She keeps crying, and nearby kids also cry, saying that they really want to eat some cake. Then someone tries to comfort them, saying that they should just go home and that the food isn't even that tasty. This scene reminds Jiang of his own childhood, and he thinks that even though the plot is cliché, it hits right at his soft spot. So he walks up to the woman. The shopkeeper notices him and wonders what he wants. Jiang asks how much the cake costs and says he will buy it. The shopkeeper responds sarcastically, asking if he wants to play the hero, and says he'll give him the chance. He then states the price as 1 gold coin, 40 silver coins, and 99 copper coins in total. Jiang is confused and thinks that isn't that all of his money, wondering if the NPC can somehow see his wallet, because that is exactly what he has. As he counts, he says that in this game, 1 gold coin equals 100 silver coins, which equals 10,000 copper coins, and that 1 copper coin equals 1 star coin in the real world. He explains that buying a piece of meat at home only costs 30 star coins, while a red health potion resupply in the game only costs 20 copper coins, and that this is all the money he worked so hard to farm. Then the lady grabs him and starts crying, calling him big bro and saying she is so hungry. Jiang calls her ruthless and says that he will buy it and tells the shopkeeper to hand over the cake. He then thinks that a quest requiring so much money to trigger might mean she really is some kind of big shot and decides to take the risk. The shopkeeper happily thanks him for his patronage, and soon the cake appears in Jiang's hands. But suddenly, as he looks back, the lady starts laughing. A purple aura begins to emanate from her as she says that as expected of the first person to get the first kill, this kind of boldness is indeed beyond ordinary people. As the aura grows stronger, Jiang reacts in confusion. Then the lady transforms into a beautiful woman named Lunaria. She explains that the players who passed by before either backed out when they heard she wanted all their gold coins, or tried to be clever by deliberately leaving exactly 1 copper coin behind to game the quest. She adds that some players even dared to speak disrespectfully to her, so she dealt with them herself. Jiang is shocked and thinks that she must be the one who killed those players, wondering if NPCs in this game can really go that far. The lady then comes close to Jiang Lu and says that he has a pretty good heart and that she likes him. She chuckles and says that they'll leave it at that for now, that his destiny isn't bad, and tells him to go and complete her trial. Then she vanishes. All the people nearby watch in shock. One says that this NPC is the same little girl from before. Another wonders how this guy triggered the quest line when so many people tried and failed. Another says they wonder what the quest rewards will be. A notification appears saying that he has triggered a quest, Lunaria's Trial, unique. The requirement is to hunt little sand turtles and obtain their turtle gallbladders, 0 out of 100. Jiang Lu reacts in excitement, saying that he triggered a unique quest, but then suddenly remembers his wallet. When he checks, he sees that he has 0 gold coins, 0 silver coins, and 0 copper coins. Now shocked, he yells that the gold coins he just earned haven't even warmed his pocket yet. He realizes that he can only sell the drops from the poisonous spider along with the crude grade gear from the 3 Jong-Hang clan members he defeated earlier, otherwise he won't have any money to buy supplies. At the beginner village market, a crowd gathers around his items. One person says that this is crude grade but such top quality. Another says that 39 attack is like gaining 2 levels for free after equipping it, and that the armor with 5 defense is like gaining 1 level's worth of defense stats. Another offers 10 silver coins and says they'll take everything. Someone else calls him stingy and raises the bid to 30 silver coins. Then another person offers 1 gold coin. That bidder turns out to be a level 6 player named One Immortal. After making the offer, he simply stands there calmly. The crowd reacts immediately. One says that this is the boss of the Immortal Tech Group. Another says they didn't expect Immortal Tech Group to enter New Origin, noting that it's a major guild in popular online games. Another adds that the Jong-Hang clan has also joined and that these large guilds are backed by powerful financial groups. Then one immortal turns to Zhang Lu and asks if he wants to change places to chat. Zhang agrees. Later, one immortal asks if he is a solo player, saying that it's not easy for one person to obtain this kind of gear. After taking a sip of his tea, the level 6 one immortal says that he doesn't mean to pry and that the price of 1 gold coin is just a greeting gift, adding that he hopes they can continue to cooperate in the future if possible. Zhang Lu responds, asking what he means by cooperate. One immortal explains that after level 10, players can choose a class with 5 normal options: warrior, mage, priest, archer, and assassin. However, he says the game has extremely high freedom with hundreds of thousands of hidden classes. He adds that if Zhang ever obtains a hidden class medal, which allows a player to switch to a hidden class, he would be willing to offer a very sincere price. Zhang Lu asks why he thinks he can get a hidden class medal. One immortal explains that the game has been open for less than 3 days, and yet Zhang already has black iron tier and silver tier gear equipped, and is even selling top quality crude gear. He says this clearly shows Zhang has his own leading playstyle. Zhang replies that it sounds like he is curious about his so-called leading playstyle. One immortal reassures him that he doesn't want to pry into anything. He says that Zhang simply reminds him of another solo player. Zhang feels confused, so one immortal continues, explaining that in another popular online game, a top 10 guild with thousands of members once made an enemy of a solo player and was completely defeated by that one person. He says he still remembers that player's arrogant name, Blood-Drinking Mad Saber. He adds that top solo players always have their own combat styles and reasons for staying independent, and that he respects that. However, he also says that he needs to protect and manage his organization and must constantly grow stronger. That's why he wants to cooperate. He finishes by saying that for some reason, he has a premonition that Zhang is someone who can provide what he needs. Later, as Zhang Lu steps outside, he thinks about everything. He reflects that the Immortal Tech Group might be worth cooperating with in the future if the opportunity arises. But right now, he decides that the most urgent task is to complete Lunaria's quest. After checking his status and supplies, he recalls that Little Sand Turtle once mentioned something in the group about jagged rocks along the coast. In the Wild Monster chat group, someone asks for help, saying there are too many big rocks on the coast and many of their clam companions are stuck and can't move. Another replies that they don't have time, saying they've been frantically fighting players lately. Little Sand Turtle says that a massive number of players have flooded in recently and everyone is busy defending their territory, telling them to solve it themselves. Another then says that since the boss said so, they'll send 2 subordinates to take a look. Zhang Lu immediately realizes that this is the clue he was looking for. As he moves forward, he notices a group of players ahead of him: level 4 Zhonggang, level 4 Zhonggang Dushan, level 5 Zhonggang Hang Wang, and level 4 Zhonggang Suanxi. Hang Wang calls out to him, asking if he just came out of the beginner village, what level he is, and why he's hiding his name. He adds that it's fine and that being a newbie isn't shameful. As Zhang Lu walks past them, Hang Wang continues, saying that since he's heading this way, he must also be going to fight Little Sand Turtles. He mentions that they are short one person to tank damage and invites him to join their party, introducing themselves as the Zhang Gang. Zhang Lu calmly replies that there's no need and that he's used to being alone. One of them reacts, asking if he really wants to solo and reminding him that Little Sand Turtles have 10 points of defense. They begin talking about weapons, mentioning that the Amethyst Sword, a top-grade black iron weapon with 10 to 15 attack, is currently ranked first. Then they list other weapons like the Black Iron Scythe with 7 to 12 attack and the Black Iron Twin Swords with 5 to 10 attack. A girl in the group advises him that since the best weapon on the leaderboard only has 10 to 15 attack, he shouldn't overestimate himself if he doesn't have a decent weapon. She even offers that if he joins them, they can lend him one. They have no idea that Zhang Lu himself is the owner of the Amethyst Sword. Zhang simply keeps moving forward. One of the party members scoffs and says that they shouldn't waste time talking to him, claiming he just wants to solo and hog the rewards, and warning him not to come back begging later. Zhang Lu thinks to himself that it's the Zhonggang clan again, and that enemies really do cross paths often. He recalls taking gear from 3 of their members earlier and decides that he should be a bit more careful going forward. At the West Coast beach, Zhang Lu sees a group of players fighting. One of them says that the Little Sand Turtles' defense and HP are too high and that they can only deal 1 point of force damage. Another says that it's fine and tells everyone to surround it, saying they can definitely take one down in 30 minutes. Another tells them to quickly use a red health potion. Zhang watches and thinks that even if a player's attack is lower than the monster's defense, they can still deal 1 point of force damage, which explains why everyone is teaming up to fight monsters. However, he wonders where the big rock mentioned by the Little Sand Turtle is, since he doesn't see it. He looks around and notices a forest, realizing that it was hidden there all along. As he goes closer, he sees many monsters gathered in that area. A notification shows Little Sand Turtle, level 5, attack 20 to 25, defense 10, HP 500. He realizes that they are all stuck there and quietly apologizes to the little turtles as he prepares to attack. Meanwhile, after taking one down, the other party celebrates. One says that they are incredibly strong, taking one down every 20 minutes. The girl praises the leader, saying he just landed an 8-point critical hit and calling it godlike. The leader laughs and boasts that this is true strength, telling them to move on to the next one. Then one of their warriors notices movement in the forest. When they look, they see Zhang dealing massive damage, 54, 48, 60, and are immediately shocked. One of them recognizes him as the solo player from earlier and wonders what kind of terrifying damage output that is. The leader admits that he had even wanted to trick Zhang into tanking damage for them before. The girl notices that the amethyst sword is in Zhang's hands and says it looks amazing, wishing she had one too. Another player says that taking down a little sand turtle in 1 minute means they've encountered a true big shot. Then someone points out that something isn't right, noting that the little sand turtles over there aren't moving. The leader agrees after taking a closer look. The girl realizes that they are stuck, saying that the rock has trapped all the little sand turtles so they can't move. She then suggests that they should go take Zhang down, calling it a perfect leveling spot. Another player says that even if the 4 of them attack together, they might not be able to beat Zhang, and that if they make too much noise and attract other players, it will become even more troublesome. He suggests calling Boss Zhang Gang Tianxia instead. Their leader laughs and says that he's the smart one, adding that this will definitely count as a great merit. He tells them to call for backup, declaring that their Zhang Gang clan is claiming that spot. Meanwhile, Zhang Lu looks at the drops and says that this is the quest item. He notes that for the scheming demoness, the drop rate is a bit low, since he killed 4 of them and only got 1. Still, he says it's not a total loss because they also drop gear and silver coins. A notification shows Little Sand Turtle's gallbladder as a quest item. Another notification shows Little Sand Turtle gauntlets, crude grade, with attack 5 to 5 and equipment level 4. Zhang Lu then reflects that he has already reached level 6, yet fighting a level 5 monster is still exhausting. He realizes that player levels and monster levels are not evenly matched in this game. He notes that the Little Sand Turtle has 500 HP and 10 defense, and that if it weren't for this bugged terrain, it would be even harder to fight. His stats appear: solo player Grand Dream, unclassed, level 6, available attributes 0, HP 277, out of 277, mana 298 out of 310, attack 15 to 21, defense 12, agility 15, luck 10. Another notification shows Little Sand Turtle, level 5, attack 20 to 25, defense 10, HP 500. Then he notices a much larger sand turtle right in front of him, but Zhang moves toward it and remarks that it's another one stuck, making things much easier. As he continues attacking, he suddenly notices another monster radiating anger and realizes that it's a rare monster, surprised at how suddenly it appeared. At the same time, messages from the Wild Monster chat group echo in his mind about players flooding the area and subordinates being sent to check the situation. Zhang Lu connects the dots and thinks that this must be the subordinate mentioned in the group, sent to clear the big rock. He realizes it's perfect timing and concludes that if a solo player wants to stay ahead, they need to keep securing the first kill of special monsters. Then the party from earlier reacts. Their leader says that a rare monster appearing so suddenly doesn't make sense. The girl says that it actually looks kind of cool. Another wonders if Zhang is really planning to 1v1 it instead of running away, since the monster is heading straight for him. As Zhang moves in, he starts dealing double damage, then triple damage with critical hits, and keeps chaining attacks. He thinks that fortunately the monster is slow, so he can use his speed to take it down. He also realizes that his increased agility now allows him to execute a 4-hit combo, giving him a real chance to defeat it. While he keeps slashing at the monster, the other players are stunned. One says that his maneuvering is godlike and wonders which big shot he is. Another says that even the famous solo player blood-drinking Mad Saber is probably only at this level, and that taking down a rare monster alone is just too outrageous. Zhang continues fighting and admits that, as expected of a rare monster, it's extremely tough. He notes that even after fighting for so long, the giant turtle still has 30% HP left. Then he suddenly pauses and looks around. A large group is rushing toward him. Among them are level 7 Zhang Gang Xiaoniao, level 7 Zhang Gang Dashu, and level 8 Zhang Gang Tianxia. Zhang Gang Tianxia commands the group, telling his brothers to steal the first kill of the rare monster and to kill Grand Dream at the same time. As everyone starts attacking, the monster begins roaring as well. The enemy leader commands that 100 people should go over and keep whittling down the rare monster, leaving the last 1 HP for him because the first kill will be his. Then he turns to Zhang and says that it hasn't been long since they last met, calling him a despicable wretch. He accuses Zhang of sneaking up on him when he was unprepared, using dirty tricks and stealing his gear, and says that today he has brought brought people to settle the score. Jong thinks that this is bad, since it hasn't been long but these guys are already higher level than him. He realizes this must be the advantage of having company backing, and that the situation is going to be tricky. Nearby, another party discusses what to do. One asks if they should go in and claim credit, but the leader calls him stupid, saying they haven't even reached level 6 and going in would just get them killed. The girl agrees, pointing out that dying would make them drop gear and lose levels. Another suggests they hide first and steal a low health kill later, and the rest agree. Suddenly, one of the Jong gang members rushes in angrily, demanding that Jong return his gear. Jong dodges and says that if he could take him down once, he can do it again, and since he's so eager, he'll start with him. But another player jumps in to block and says that he's dreaming. The first guy laughs and calls out that Dashu arrived at the perfect time. Jong is momentarily caught off guard, realizing that this opponent is using defensive gear. Then another attacker appears behind him and taunts him, asking why he isn't running and telling him to take his axe. The attack lands as a critical hit, dealing minus 32 HP. Jong falls and feels his chest tighten, wondering if it's the impact from the axe. Another enemy immediately attacks from behind, mocking him for not moving and asking if he has given up resisting. He keeps laughing, asking where Jong can run now and saying that the so-called first kill player isn't anything special. As Jong's health continues to drop, he finds himself completely surrounded. The leader steps forward, laughing at how pathetic Jong looks, and tells him to hand over all the gear he's carrying. Then the leader says that Jong should go into world chat and admit that he only got the first person to get first kill title by sneak attacking him, Jonggang Tianxia, and that he might consider letting him off. Otherwise, he threatens to have people camp the revival point and hunt him down repeatedly until he drops to level 0. Jong thinks that this is bad. He can't catch his breath and realizes it's the precursor to an attack from his ALS-like disease. The enemy presses him, asking what he's going to do and telling him to think carefully. Suddenly, another group rushes in and reports to their boss that it has mutated. The boss asks what mutated, and they explain that the rare monster has turned into a rage monster. They say it became too strong because they couldn't take it down for so long and may have fed it too much experience. Behind them, the monster now stands with a powerful red aura, unleashing chaos and dealing massive damage to everyone around. Players panic, shouting that the damage is insanely high. Some cry out for help, while others say they've been blown away. A notification appears showing mutated sand turtle, rare monster, attack 100 to 150, defense 20, HP 19, 1500, skill sandstorm. Despite the chaos, one player shouts not to run, saying it only has 19 HP left and that if everyone attacks together with force damage, they can finish it. He promises that anyone involved will get a piece of black iron tier gear. Hearing this, the crowd gets excited. Some repeat that it's black iron tier gear, others shout to attack, saying that even if they die, they can just revive and come back. Everyone starts charging toward the monster. Meanwhile, Zhonggang Tianxia suddenly realizes something is wrong and asks where Grand Dream went. While everyone else is distracted by the mutated monster, Zhong has already rushed toward it. As he runs, he thinks that if he logs off now, all his efforts will be wasted, and tells himself to hold on just a little longer. Seeing this, the boss becomes furious and also charges forward, declaring that the first kill of the rare monster will be his. The monster roars again and keeps attacking everyone around. One player shouts for others to get out of the way, while another argues back that they're the one blocking. Meanwhile, the boss keeps charging forward, determined not to let Zhong beat him. He curses angrily, saying how dare Zhong go against their Jong-Hang guild. In the chaos, players even start colliding with each other. As both Zhong and the boss reach the monster at the same time, they look up and see it about to strike them. The people behind panic and call out to their boss as the attack comes down. But at that moment, Zhong activates Eye of Insight with the 3 rings combo. He unleashes a chain of attacks, double damage, triple damage, critical hit, and another triple damage. Everyone watching is stunned, realizing he dealt nearly 20 points of damage in an instant. One wonders what kind of background he has, while another questions what happened to the 1 point of force damage they've all been struggling with. Then a system notification appears, a world message congratulating player Grand Dream for achieving the first kill of the rare monster, the little sand turtle. More notifications follow rapidly. He levels up again and again. Then he receives the first kill reward, a health pill. Another notification shows he has obtained new gear, Fallen Dagger, a gold tier item. Zhong turns toward the Jong-Hang clan and mocks them, asking where their earlier arrogance went when they ganged up on him, and whether they are ready to be completely wiped out. He then allocates all his attributes into agility and prepares to hunt. Now the tables turn. The enemies are terrified. One stammers and tells him not to come any closer, shouting for everyone to run. Another panics, saying he's even scarier than a rare monster. Others cry out as their armor drops or beg him to spare them because their gear is expensive. Even the players who had been hiding and watching are now frightened. In the end, only a few of them remain, trying to escape. But suddenly Jong stops them, telling them to halt. They freeze, then awkwardly laugh and try to back off, saying they'll handle things themselves or that there's no need for him to trouble himself, clearly terrified and trying to get away. Another says that they should never see each other again. Then, in a panic, they drop all their gear and run away. Jong-Lu sits down and thinks that he needs to hurry up, sell all this gear, and log off to rest. In the chat, one immortal sees Jong's message offering over 100 pieces of beginner phase gear at West Coast Beach, and immediately replies that he's coming right away. Just then, Jong senses something behind him. A giant monster appears, and he realizes that an elite monster has shown up again. A notification displays, Little Sand Turtle Elite Monster, Level 5, Attack 30 to 40, Defense 10, HP 700. Jong mutters that the big turtle really knows how to pick its timing. He then thinks that judging from his symptoms, the ALS-like attack is about to happen within the next few minutes, so he needs to finish this quickly. Memories begin to surface. He recalls someone asking if Lure's medicine for the month had been bought, and another voice saying no. Then someone else says that it's Lure's pain reliever and asks if they understand how much he suffers during an attack. A man replies that he does, but Xiaoyu and Yenner also need to eat. Back in the present, Jong cries out and rushes toward the monster, thinking that for so many years, he hasn't fulfilled his responsibilities as the eldest son. He attacks, dealing triple damage, then another triple damage, and then a triple damage critical hit. More memories flash through his mind. His sister asks where a certain place is, and he tells her it's the new district where the rich people live. She says she wants to become rich too, and he promises that he will work hard to make her a rich person. She happily agrees. Returning to the present, as he slashes the monster again, he thinks that he has finally found something he can do even with his frail body, and even a chance to change his family's life. He resolves that he will not let anyone take this away from him, and that he won't hand over what he worked so hard to build. A notification appears saying that congratulations to player Grand Dream for completing the first kill of the elite monster, Little Sand Turtle, as fireworks burst everywhere. Players react instantly. One says that it's Grand Dream again. Another wonders what the reward is and says they're so jealous. Another mentions that he's also a solo player, while someone else refuses to believe it. Another notification pops up saying that this is crazy and that Grand Dream already has 3 first kills on special monsters. One player calls him Godfather and asks to be carried, while another wonders who is stronger between Grand Dream and blood-drinking Mad Saber. Back on the ground, loot is scattered everywhere. Jong-Lu is exhausted, and just as he's about to pick it up, he suddenly realizes something is wrong. A notification appears saying that he has been forced to log off, warning that since he is in a non-safe zone, his character will remain stationary and vulnerable to death penalties. In reality, back in Jong's room, his helmet falls off as his condition worsens. He struggles and thinks about whether his body can really last another 6 months. Then someone arrives and calls out to Lure, saying that tonight they're having ferocious beast meat and asking how he feels today. First, there's no response. Then Jong gathers himself and replies that Mom is back and that he's feeling great today, offering to help. As they sit down to eat, his mother says that his father got paid today, so they made his favorite dish and tells him to eat. His younger brother offers him some as well, but Jong tells him to eat it instead, saying that he is now a level 2 awakened and that the ferocious beast meat will help his cultivation. He adds that he doesn't really like eating meat anyway. Their father supports this, telling Xiaonyo to listen to his brother since he's at a critical stage. The younger brother happily agrees, thanking Jong and promising that he will work hard to become a level 3 awakened and move the family into the new district. Their father expresses confidence in him. Jong reflects on the world they live in, the Star Ocean era, where animals and plants mutated into ferocious beasts and began attacking human cities, forcing humanity to retreat and shrinking their living space again and again. He thinks about how the Federation struggles to maintain order under these conditions. But then he recalls that a small portion of humans awaken special abilities, gaining enhanced physical strength. These people are known as awakened, and they are ranked from level 1 to level 10 based on their power. Awakened above level 3 possess stronger physical techniques, and some individuals even awaken special arts, becoming incredibly powerful. The Federation saw the potential to restore social order through these awakened, so it began heavily recruiting those above level 3 into newly established jurisdictions known as the new district. Unlike the old district, which has outdated facilities, chaos, and almost no order. The new district is a newly built human territory funded by elites from all walks of life. It offers advanced medical care, cutting-edge technology, and high-quality living conditions, making it a paradise people desperately want to enter. For residents of the old district, nurturing an awakened is their ticket into this paradise. The Federation has set a rule that as long as a family produces a level 3 awakened, they can move into the new district together. Zhang then says that he's full and a bit sleepy, telling his parents he's going to rest for a while. As he lies down, he thinks that cultivating a level 3 awakened requires a lot of resources, which ultimately means money. During this time, he needs to explore the game as much as possible. Even if he can't find a way to survive through the game, he must at least leave something behind that will allow his family to keep going. Soon after, he logs back in. A notification welcomes him back to the new Origin game world and wishes him a pleasant game. He regrets that he was forced to log off earlier, thinking that the gear he dropped was probably already taken by someone. However, when he returns to the location, he finds a massive crowd gathered there. At the center stands a now level 9-1 immortal, warning others that if they aren't afraid of death, they can try picking up the items, and that he will make sure they pay the price. Hearing this, the surrounding players back off, saying they can't afford to provoke the immortal group and quickly leave. Seeing this, Zhang feels relieved and calls out to him as Brother Immortal. One immortal turns to him and says that since Zhang has been hiding his name and level, he had been curious about the reason. He admits that he didn't expect him to be Grand Dream, the one who killed the rare monster, but also points out that logging off in such a place wasn't a wise move. Zhang Lu thanks him, saying that something suddenly came up in the real world. He explains that all this gear was dropped by the Jong-Hang clan members who came to besiege him, and that he called him over to ask if he's interested in buying it, telling him to set the price as he sees fit. One immortal responds that Zhang managed to kill so many people on his own, and that he really can't see through his true strength. Zhang just laughs it off. Then one immortal says that he'll buy everything. He explains that in the early stages of their immortal group's development, they need beginner gear like this to strengthen their members. He estimates that the gear is worth at least 5 gold coins, but admits that the company can't bring out that much in-game currency all at once. Instead, he asks if it's okay to convert it into 50,000 star coins in the real world, and says that if Zhang agrees, he can provide a card number and the money will be transferred by the afternoon. Zhang is stunned for a moment and agrees. As he thinks about the amount, he can't help but feel excited. He realizes that 50,000 star coins is more than what his parents can earn in an entire year. With this money, he can finally afford his medicine, and Xiaonyo and Yenner will also be able to eat ferocious beast meat more often. One immortal says that he'll take all the gear and then asks if Zhang wants to join the immortal tech group, adding that he can apply for the best treatment for him. Hearing this, Zhang Lu thinks that joining an organization does sound tempting, and that given one immortal's character, he would likely receive very good treatment. Still, he replies with thanks and says he's more used to being a solo player. In his mind, he reasons that joining a team would mean being tied down and giving up many opportunities. He also believes he can maintain a leading position on his own, and that being alone gives him more freedom. One immortal laughs and says he expected that answer, but that the company's higher-ups insisted he ask anyway. He tells Zhang to contact him again if he has more transactions, calling him Brother Expert. Zhang agrees. After that, Zhang checks his notifications and says that he hasn't even had time to look at the rewards from the rare and elite monsters. He begins reviewing them. He has obtained a health potion that permanently increases agility by 10 and maximum HP by 50. He also got a fallen dagger, a gold tier weapon with unknown attack, equipment level 10, and currently unidentified. There's also an elite necklace, a silver tier item that grants an additional skill called Blink, usable at level 8. Then an elite armor with defense 25, elite gauntlets with attack 10 to 10, and elite boots with agility 14, all black iron tier and requiring level 8. Zhang is amazed, thinking that so many items dropped, including even gold and silver tier gear, calling it another windfall and a massive upgrade. As he equips everything, a notification appears saying he has consumed the health potion, increasing his agility by 10 and his maximum HP by 50. Another notification says he has collected the full elite set, activating a bonus: HP plus 100, mana plus 100, defense plus 5, agility plus 5. His stats update to HP 427 out of 427, mana 410 out of 410, defense 42, and agility 74. He also equips the elite necklace and gains the skill Blink, allowing him to teleport forward a certain distance at the cost of 50 mana, with a cooldown of 2 minutes. Zhang then comments that this setup feels a bit too flashy, and that he doesn't want to be targeted again. He asks the system spirit to hide the appearance of his gear and keep it looking like basic equipment. The system spirit appears and agrees. Zhang feels relieved, saying that this is much better. However, he notices something strange. He still can't see the stats of the gold tier fallen dagger. He wonders if it requires some kind of special condition or identification to unlock, as the notification still shows it as an unidentified gold tier weapon with unknown attack and level requirement 10. He tries saying things like unlock, open, identify, open up, even jokingly telling it to wake up, but nothing happens. He realizes it's probably not a password and wonders what he actually has to do, even thinking he might have to throw it. He tosses the dagger and calls out for it to go, then picks it back up, saying the weapon is quite interesting. Suddenly, a woman appears and takes the dagger. She says that although the base stats are average, the additional skill is interesting. Jong immediately reacts, thinking that the demoness should give it back. The woman questions what he just called her. Jong quickly corrects himself and addresses her respectfully as Lord Lunaria. Lunaria then asks if he took down the mutated rare monster and the elite monster, and what about her trial. Jong tells her it's done and that all the quest items are ready. He thinks to himself that luckily, the monster's tornado earlier affected nearby little sand turtles, so enough gallbladders dropped. A notification appears saying that he has submitted 100 little sand turtle gallbladders. Lunaria praises him and says that here is his reward. As she grants it, he levels up. A system notification shows that he has reached level 10 and has 5 attribute points available. Then Lunaria hands back the dagger and says she helped him identify it. A notification reveals the weapon's true stats. Fallen dagger, gold tier gear, attack 50 to 75, with an additional effect called Fallen that gives a 10% chance to deal 10 times damage. Equipment level 10. Jong is stunned and exclaims that a 10% chance to deal 10 times damage is unbelievable. Lunaria responds proudly, saying that the final stats of unidentified gear depend heavily on the appraiser's ability, and that he's lucky she took the time to do it. Jong is amazed, practically starstruck. Lunaria then casually tells him to go to the Batcave to complete the second trial. A notification appears showing the next quest, Lunaria's trial, unique, requiring him to collect 100 vampire bat fangs. As she leaves, she mentions that she'll take the appraisal fee as her reward. Jong thanks her, but then pauses and checks his inventory. He realizes that all his money, gold, silver, and copper coins, is gone again. Shocked, he shouts that she really is a demoness, since all the money he just earned has disappeared once more. He mutters that this demoness better give him an even better reward next time. As he walks through the jungle, Zhonglu checks the notification about the Batcave and recalls that a bat mentioned something in the Wild Monster chat group. He decides to look through the chat again and soon says that he found it. In the chat, someone asks the vampire bat how things are going at the Batcave now that players over level 10 have started appearing. Another replies not to worry, saying that players will never guess where the hidden class medal has been hidden. Someone else asks where else it could be, guessing that it should be on elite or rare monsters, or jokingly asking if the boss is carrying it personally. The response comes back that if everyone thinks like that, then they will never find it, followed by laughter. After reading this, Zhonglu realizes that there is actually a hidden class medal somewhere in the Batcave. Zhonglu asks where exactly the hidden class medal could be and wonders why Lunaria didn't explain it clearly, though he feels it would be awkward to ask her directly. He turns to the system spirit and asks if there's any detailed introduction about the Batcave. The system spirit confirms that there is. She explains that the Batcave is the only passage leading to the unlocked area known as the Mystery Mountains, and that it is currently an extremely high difficulty map. She adds that monsters there have a chance to drop the 5 major class medals, which are crucial for level 10 players preparing to change their class. Zhang realizes that he has already reached level 10 and can choose a class, but he still wants to aim for a stronger hidden class if possible. He asks if there's any specific intelligence about hidden class medals in the Batcave. The system spirit apologizes and says that in the early stages of the game, there is very little information about hidden classes, so she cannot provide further details. Zhang understands and thinks that even the Wild Monster chat group didn't reveal anything, so he'll have to rely on himself. Still, just knowing that a hidden class medal exists in the Batcave makes it worth the risk. He decides to head there. When he arrives at the Batcave entrance, he sees a large crowd gathered. Players are shouting for party members, some asking for high attack, others for tanks with strong defense. Zhang is surprised, thinking that there are already so many players at level 10. Nearby, frustrated voices complain that even a group of 10 players couldn't defeat a single vampire bat, and someone else curses after losing another level. Just as Zhang is about to enter, a level 10 player approaches him and asks if he wants to form a party, warning that it's too dangerous inside and that the bats all have skills, making it easier to fight in groups. Zhang thanks him but declines, saying he prefers to go alone. As he walks in solo, someone watching exclaims in disbelief, wondering what kind of monster player would go in alone. Inside the cave, Zhang thinks that this is the perfect time to test out his new weapon. He remembers that he still has 5 unallocated attribute points and decides to put all of them into agility. A notification shows his updated stats. He notes that compared to before, his attributes have increased significantly after leveling up and believes it should be enough to complete the second trial. Then suddenly, he notices something unusual ahead. A notification appears showing Vampire Bat level 10, attack 50 to 60, defense 25, HP 1000 with a bleed effect. Jiang draws his weapon and complains that it actually tried to sneak attack him, saying he'll just use it as his first target. As he strikes, damage numbers explode, minus 82, 90, 103, then 102, followed by a massive 208. The bat tries to counterattack, but Jiang mocks it, saying it's too sluggish, like it's barely moving, and continues attacking with another hit of minus 97. He keeps chaining attacks effortlessly, completely overpowering the monster. Then suddenly, a system alert appears, warning that he is about to encounter an elite monster and should prepare for battle. A new notification shows Vampire Bat Elite Monster, level 10, attack 150 to 190, defense 50, HP 3000, bleed effect. Jiang reacts with excitement, saying that now this is more like it. However, he remembers the intel from the Wild Monster chat group that elite monsters shouldn't drop hidden class medals. Just then, he notices another group of monsters approaching, including a small bat at the back. He narrows his focus on it and wonders if the thing he's looking for might actually be on that little one. Elsewhere in the cave, another player group is strategizing. Their captain explains that when fighting vampire bats, the key is to stay alert, dodge, and only attack isolated targets with low HP, assuring them that their 5-man team can handle one. A level 9 girl suddenly points ahead, telling the captain to look. The level 10 captain, Invisible Hot Wheels, looks forward and sees Jiang in action. He shouts at him to stop, while another player complains about him blocking the way. But as they watch, they are stunned. One asks if Jiang is seriously chasing down 5 vampire bats along with an elite monster at the same time. Another notices his weapon and says it looks like the fallen dagger, the one ranked first on the weapon leaderboard. Meanwhile, Jiang keeps fighting and tells them not to block his path. A bat squeaks as it tries to attack, but suddenly takes an overwhelming hit, minus 1800 damage. A world message appears, congratulating player Grand Dream for achieving the first kill of the Vampire Bat Elite Monster. The surrounding players are completely shocked. One asks if anyone has ever seen 1800 damage before, while another says they haven't even seen 180. Jiang, pleased, realizes what just happened and says that he finally triggered the 10x damage effect for the first time, calling it awesome. After watching Jiang dominate all those monsters, the surrounding players go wild. One says that he's handsome and asks to be friends, bragging about their looks. Another shouts that they love Grand Dream. Someone else begs the big shot to carry them. Jiang is overwhelmed and can't believe what's happening. In the chaos, he suddenly notices the target slipping away and says that it flew off. Because of the crowd blocking him, the enemy escapes. He tries to push through, telling everyone not to block his way since he's busy. But the crowd keeps swarming him. One begs for a chance to cling to him, while another calls out asking where he went. Jiang finally slips away. Behind him, the players start blaming each other, saying it's someone's fault for scaring the big shot off. Now alone, Jiang breathes a sigh of relief and says he finally got away from that crowd. He then checks the loot from the elite monster. A notification shows that he obtained an archer class change medal, which allows a player to switch to the archer class. Jiang reacts, saying it's just a regular class medal, confirming that the hidden class medal must be somewhere else. Then he pauses and notices something. He puts on an earpiece and answers a call from one immortal. One immortal asks if Jiang is currently leading a team in the Batcave and offers 30,000 star coins per person carried, but with the condition that all class medals obtained go to them. Jiang negotiates, saying that 30,000 is too high and suggesting 20,000 per person instead. He agrees to give them the 5 normal class medals, but wants to keep any hidden class medal for himself. One immortal admits that he is also aiming for a hidden class medal and asks that if 2 drop, Jiang should leave one for him. Jiang considers it and agrees to the deal. One immortal responds immediately, saying they'll be there soon. Jiang thinks about how fast he acts and decides to use this opportunity to earn some extra money, believing it shouldn't cause any trouble. Elsewhere, someone curses Grand Dream in frustration. The scene then shifts to the real world, inside Jiang Tianxia's office. One subordinate tries to calm the boss, saying it's just the first kill of a Batcave elite monster, and that with their company's backing, they can easily catch up. But Jiang Tianxia is furious. He says he can't stay calm because their team was completely wiped out last time, and the higher-ups have already held him responsible. He blames everything on Grand Dream and reveals that the higher-ups are planning to demote him. He then turns to Xiang Niao and demands to know what blood-drinking Mad Saber said. The assistant reports that blood-drinking Mad Saber is willing to join the Jong-Hang group and even agreed to carry them through the Batcave. However, he demands a joining fee of 1 million star coins and 50,000 star coins per person carried. The boss scoffs, saying he really dares to ask for that much. He admits that blood-drinking Mad Saber has a huge reputation in other online games, but he's unsure about his strength in New Origin. Still, he says that if the guy is truly strong, then money isn't an issue. He then asks if he's willing to deal with Grand Dream. The assistant reassures him, saying he already asked. Blood-drinking Mad Saber has always held a grudge against Grand Dream for taking so many first kills, and he's even willing to livestream a 1v1 duel to establish dominance in the game. Right then, a world notification appears, announcing that blood-drinking Mad Saber has achieved the first kill of the little white fox boss monster, the very first boss kill in New Origin. The assistant points out that this proves his strength. The boss smiles coldly and says that everything Grand Dream took from him before will be returned, with interest. Meanwhile, inside the Batcave, one immortal arrives with his group. One of them asks what Grand Dream looks like. One immortal explains that he's a quiet player who hides his name and level and always acts alone. Then someone points ahead and realizes that he's right there. Jong greets him, calling him Brother Immortal. One immortal apologizes for the wait and introduces his team. A girl in the group looks Jong up and down and says that she expected Grand Dream to be some heavily geared, muscular warrior, not someone so scrawny. Jong internally shrugs, thinking that the game simply generates avatars based on a player's real body. Another teammate doubts him openly, saying he looks completely ordinary and questioning whether he can really carry the three of them, especially since vampire bats have such abnormal stats. Jong stays calm, only giving a faint smile. One immortal apologizes for his teammates' rude behavior, saying they aren't bad people. He then smacks one of them for speaking out of line. The teammate winces and complains that even at 5% pain settings, that still hurts quite a bit. Then the lady complains that boss shouldn't be hitting them like that. But suddenly, Jong reacts instantly. He pulls all of them down and tells them to get down, as a swarm of vampire bats dives in for a sneak attack. Jong warns them to be careful, saying that vampire bats love attacking from behind. He then takes charge of the situation and tells them to leave these three monsters to him. One of the guys says that Brother Expert should let them help too. But before they can even move, Jong Lu steps forward and starts attacking. His strikes land rapidly, each hit dealing over 100 damage again and again. Then suddenly, one massive blow lands, minus 2,900 damage, and the bat is instantly killed. Moments later, Jong calmly says that it's all done. As the last bat falls, the others are left stunned. The blue-haired guy asks if that 2,900 damage number was real, saying the vampire bat got instantly deleted. One immortal admits he doesn't know either, saying he hasn't seen Jong for just a few days, and yet he's already gotten stronger again. The girl looks at Jong in awe, wondering why he suddenly seems so handsome. Jong casually says that they got lucky since an archer class medal dropped, and tells them to take it so they can keep moving. One immortal asks if the fallen dagger, the one ranked first on the weapon leaderboard, is the weapon he's using. Another teammate questions how he dealt that kind of damage when his gear looks so ordinary. The girl then asks how old he is. Jong just thinks to himself that this is exactly why he prefers being a solo player. As they move deeper into the cave, one immortal asks if Jong knows which path to take. Jong replies that it's his first time here too, and since there are multiple paths, it doesn't really matter. He suggests just picking one randomly. Another teammate agrees, saying that with someone like Brother Expert around, the path doesn't matter anyway. The girl scolds him for acting smug. Suddenly, she shouts that there are enemies above them. They look up and see a massive swarm of vampire bats covering the ceiling. One immortal warns that even if they can revive, being swarmed and drained alive would still be traumatic, suggesting they should change paths. Jong tells them to wait a moment, then says he found what he was looking for. He points out the small bat that escaped earlier. He tells one immortal that there's no need to change paths, saying that the more monsters there are, the more rewards they'll get, and there might even be unexpected gains. Privately, he thinks that this is also a perfect chance to complete Lunaria's trial. The others are worried, saying that with so many bats attacking at once, no matter how fast he is, he won't be able to dodge everything. Even one immortal cautions him, saying that if something happens and he drops his weapon, they wouldn't be able to afford compensating him. Jong says that he has a plan and tells everyone to step back so they don't get caught in it, reminding them that the vampire bat's bleed effect drains 50 HP per second. One immortal agrees, and the group quickly retreats. Even Jong is surprised at how fast they move. He immediately starts attacking. In the middle of the fight, a bat sneaks up from behind, and the others panic, saying he failed to one-shot it and that once a fight drags on, nearby bats will start waking up. But suddenly, Jong disappears. One immortal is shocked, saying he vanished. As the bat attacks, Jong reappears at another position, cleanly dodging it. The others are confused asking what he just did. Someone realizes it's Blink and wonders where he got such a god-tier skill. Jong quickly assesses that Blink covers about 25 meters but has a long cooldown. A notification confirms it's from the Elite Necklace, a silver-tier item granting the Blink skill, currently on a 2-minute cooldown. Another bat attacks, but Jong slashes it down instantly. One of the teammates figures out his strategy, that he's luring the bats away and taking them down one by one to avoid triggering the entire swarm. The girl admires him even more, calling him handsome again. Jong thinks that although this method takes longer, it's effective. He continues hunting patiently. A notification shows he has collected 4 vampire bat fangs out of 100. He keeps fighting, taking down more and more bats over time. 2 hours later, he finally reaches the last one, except for the small bat he had noticed earlier. A notification shows he has leveled up to level 12, gaining 5 attribute points. He once again allocates everything into agility. Another notification shows he has collected 206 vampire bat fangs, far exceeding the requirement. Jong realizes that Lunaria's trial is now complete. He then focuses on the final target, the small bat, and says that now it's its turn. The others start getting sleepy since the fight is taking so long. Jong looks at them and says that they're being too relaxed, reminding them this isn't a safe zone. One guy wakes up and asks if it's all done, saying he's just hungry now. The girl admits she fell asleep. Jong says there's only one left. One immortal explains that while they were logged off, Jong single-handedly fought over 200 vampire bats and obtained more than 30 class medals. He adds that they missed a valuable learning opportunity. Another teammate praises Jong, saying he's really reliable and that they should just finish the last one and call it a day. Jong explains that he's waiting for Blink's cooldown, since the last bat is fast and he doesn't want it to escape again. But one of the teammates, eager to prove himself, insists that Jong has done enough and rushes forward without waiting. He shouts dramatically as he charges at the small bat. However, the moment he approaches, the bat's eyes glow red and it unleashes a powerful wind attack, knocking him straight back to the ground. Everyone is shocked. One immortal asks what just happened. Jong immediately realizes something is wrong and says it might be a mutated monster. Right then, the bat transforms into a much larger and more terrifying form. A notification appears: giant vampire bat, mutated, level 10, attack 240 to 260, defense 50, HP 4000, bleed effect. The team is stunned. One asks if this is even still a vampire bat, while the girl panics at its massive HP. One immortal quickly tells Jong to take the others and leave, saying the monster stats are too overwhelming. But the teammate who got knocked back refuses, saying they finally have a chance to fight seriously and shouldn't run. The girl agrees, saying that at worst they can just revive. One immortal then decides to follow Jong's lead and asks him to convince them. Jong reveals his reasoning, saying that this monster might be carrying a hidden class medal. One immortal is surprised and asks if that's true. Jong admits it's still speculation, but says the chances are high and worth the risk. Hearing that, one immortal agrees to fight and asks for a plan. Jong takes command, telling everyone to spread out, prepare their red health potions, and support him while he takes the lead. They agree and quickly prepare, spreading out with their red health potions ready. The mutated giant vampire bat lunges at Zhonglu, striking fast, but he dodges just in time. He counters and lands a hit, but the damage is surprisingly low. Jong immediately realizes something is off. The monster's defense is far higher than expected. The creature lets out a strange, almost mocking sound. Jong focuses and activates Eye of Insight, trying to find a weakness, but nothing appears. He thinks that this makes no sense, since normally there should be some kind of weakness indicator. Behind him, Jiu panics and asks why Jong's damage suddenly dropped. Even one immortal admits he doesn't understand. The tension rises as they realize that if Jong can't handle it, none of them stand a chance. Jong keeps attacking, trying different angles, but every hit barely scratches the monster. He thinks that something is wrong. There's no visible weakness at all. Suddenly, the monster's claw swings down right in front of him. Jong reacts instantly, dodging and parrying at the last moment. Even so, the impact is powerful. He takes heavy damage and is sent flying backward. One immortal shouts in alarm, while the others freeze in fear. Jong lands, surrounded by a faint aura as a notification appears. He has entered a bleed state, losing 50 HP per second for 10 seconds. Before he can fully recover, the monster charges again, preparing another devastating attack. Gu jumps in front of the incoming strike and blocks it, shouting that the bat won't get anywhere near Jong. The girl follows up, yelling at the monster to back off. Meanwhile, Jong quickly pulls out a potion and starts drinking it. Gu Gua asks if he's okay. Jong apologizes, saying he didn't expect the fight to be this tricky, and asks for a second to recover. His HP is still ticking down from the bleed, and the pressure keeps building. One immortal steps in and reassures everyone that Gua and the others can hold out for now. Jong briefly worries that Immortal might call for backup, thinking it would be too late if they relied on that. Instead, he asks for just a bit more time. One Immortal agrees, saying they can stall, but in the end, they'll have to rely on Jong, because without him, there's no way they can defeat this monster. Those words hit Jong deeply. He recalls how, in the past, he was always the one being protected, always the weak one others had to look after. His mother urging him to run, others stepping in for him, it all comes back. But now things are different. Gua calls him reliable. The girl says he's amazing. One Immortal trusts him completely. Jong realizes how good it feels to finally be seen as someone strong. He tells himself he can't let that title of brother expert mean nothing. Meanwhile, the girl taunts the monster, drawing its attention. It lashes out but misses. Gua coordinates with the others, telling them to aim properly and not waste attacks. Jong finishes recovering, still thinking fast. One Immortal asks if he's come up with a strategy. Jong says he has a plan, but he needs everyone's cooperation. One Immortal immediately agrees and asks what they need to do. Jong explains that they need to buy him a few seconds during the gaps between the monster's attacks. He warns that the monster's damage is too high, so they should stick to long-range attacks and focus on continuously restricting it rather than engaging directly. He asks if they can manage that. One Immortal hesitates for a moment, then suddenly Boo panics, shouting that he's about to die. Gua immediately steps in again, saying to leave it to him. At that moment, they pull out a class medal, preparing to turn the tide of the battle. Gua says that he just needs to undergo a class change to an archer, and that Immortal Boo already has a bow he can use. One Immortal immediately objects, reminding him that a player can only use a class change medal once. He points out that Gua had always been aiming for a hidden class, and once he chooses archer, he won't be able to change later. He offers to take the role instead, but Gua cuts him off, telling him to stop nagging and confirms the use of the medal anyway. He grabs the bow from Immortal Boo and tells him to stop wasting arrows. Then he confidently tells Jong to leave the rest to him. A notification appears. He has changed class to Apprentice Archer and learned the skill Single Shot, dealing 80 to 110 damage. Now as level 9 Immortal Gua, Apprentice Archer, he gets excited, saying the class feels pretty good. As the giant bat roars and lunges forward, Gua draws his bow, aims, and fires. The arrow hits cleanly. He laughs in excitement, saying he dealt even higher damage than Jong. But his confidence doesn't last long. The monster immediately turns toward him. Gua panics and starts running, shouting for Jong to save him. Jong steps in calmly, calling out to the bat and drawing its attention back. The monster's eyes glow again as it prepares another attack. But this time, Jong isn't surprised. He focuses and says that just as he suspected, its weakness is in its eyes. It just took him some time to figure it out. Jong moves in again, striking the monster. This time his attacks land properly on the weak point, dealing solid damage. Not as insane as before, but still far above normal. Gua watches in disbelief and says that this is way too broken. Even after changing class, he still can't match Jong's damage. Jong quickly gives a command, telling Gua to aim for the eyes. Gua immediately draws another arrow, locks onto the target, and fires. The shot lands cleanly, minus 120 damage. He gets excited and proudly says he hit it again, calling himself a genius. The others watch in surprise. The girl says she can't believe it, that Gua is actually coordinating perfectly with Jong. Meanwhile, Jong keeps attacking as well, landing hits like minus 480 and over 100 damage. Gua, now fired up, complains that Jong is stealing all the spotlight and asks for another chance. Jong calmly agrees and lets him take the next shot. Gua confidently fires again, but this time the arrow misses the eye, dealing only minus 53 damage. The others immediately laugh. The girl teases him, saying the master archer suddenly looks weak, and one Immortal jokes that compared to Jong, it's completely insignificant. Gua gets annoyed and snaps at them to stop talking. Jong doesn't waste the opening. He steps forward and delivers the final blow, telling the bat to die in peace. The monster lets out a final scream and collapses. Jong reflects that his luck wasn't great this time, since he didn't trigger the Fallen Dagger's 10x damage effect even once. The team gathers around, still amazed. The girl asks one Immortal how he even met someone like Jong, wondering how he can be this strong. One Immortal explains that he met him at a street stall all buying gear and didn't expect him to be this powerful either. Jong checks the drops and his eyes widen. 2 light orbs appear. Notifications reveal * Wind Whisperer class change metal hidden. * Druid class change metal hidden. The girl gasps and asks if those are hidden class metals. Jong confirms that they are and says their luck is incredible. There are even 2. The girl gets excited, saying they've truly struck it rich. Jong says that as agreed, he'll keep 1 hidden class metal for himself and give the other to them. One immortal hesitates, saying he didn't expect things to get this dangerous and that maybe Jong should keep both. But Jong refuses, saying that this time it wasn't just him. Immortal Gua contributed too, and a promise is a promise. This is what they deserve. Gua happily agrees, saying he really put in the effort this time. But in the very next moment, a blade pierces through him. Everything freezes. One immortal shouts Gua's name, while the girl looks on in horror. The attacker steps forward calmly and says that by right, the rewards should belong to him. Jong turns and recognizes him. It's Jong-Gang Tianxia. He mocks them, saying the immortal group has really fallen if an executive is still using crude-grade gear. One immortal clenches his teeth and says their groups have never interfered with each other, questioning why he's here. Jong-Gang Tianxia reminds him that they've always been competitors, and that the immortal group even took the gear his team dropped at the beach. Then he adds that now they've gone even further by teaming up with Grand Dream, someone his group considers an enemy, so he has no choice but to strike first. Behind him, his entire team stands ready, waiting for the signal. He coldly demands that they hand over the hidden class metals and all their gear, saying he might grant them a quick death. One immortal, furious, calls out his name, but Jong steps forward calmly and tells him to calm down, saying they're just defeated enemies. He tells him to take Immortal Boo and step back, and that he'll handle this himself. Someone from the enemy side scoffs, saying that a guy with just a few first kills is talking big. Then, from behind them, a powerful figure steps forward. He looks directly at Jong and challenges him, asking if he dares to fight. After seeing the newcomer, one immortal immediately recognizes him and says that he's here. The man steps forward confidently and addresses Jong, saying that everyone on the forum has been debating who is stronger between them, but in his eyes, Jong isn't even qualified to be mentioned in the same breath. Someone calls out his name, Blood-Drinking Mad Saber, and a notification confirms his class as Apprentice Gale Wanderer. Jong immediately realizes that this guy is already a hidden class user. Then a woman suggests settling the debate through a live stream, and drones are released to broadcast the fight. Blood-Drinking Mad Saber directly challenges Jong, saying it will be a duel between the two of them. System notifications explode everywhere, announcing a major event. The PK between Blood-Drinking Mad Saber and Grand Dream will be broadcast live in 1 minute. Players start flooding in, calling it a clash between 2 top solo players. Some even hype Blood-Drinking Mad Saber as the ruthless player who once solo wiped a 1,000-man guild. Jong calmly accepts the duel, but one immortal quickly stops him and warns him that Blood-Drinking Mad Saber is extremely dangerous, arrogant, obsessive, and completely focused on maximizing critical damage. He explains that no one has beaten him in a duel so far. He also points out that since Mad Saber already has a hidden class, likely built around crit damage, Jong is at a disadvantage. He suggests that Jong should use one of the hidden class metals right now to improve his chances. The girl agrees, urging Jong to take the upgrade and win. Jong looks at the medals and thinks about it carefully. Then he decides to hand both medals to one immortal for safekeeping, saying he'll choose later after everything is over. He states confidently that when it comes to critical damage, he won't necessarily lose. In his mind, he knows this isn't the time to make a rushed decision. Choosing a class now without thought would disrespect the outcome of the fight. Meanwhile, the live stream hype keeps growing. Players comment that Grand Dream looks impressive, and excitement builds as everyone prepares to watch the showdown between the first Kill King and the game's most feared solo player. The opponent sneers and asks if Jong needs time to recover his pitiful HP, then coldly adds that once the fight starts, there will be no excuses or surrender. Jong calmly replies that there's no need. He's always ready. Blood-Drinking Mad Saber doesn't wait another second. He shouts for Jong to die and instantly unleashes a Gale Slash. The attack cuts through the air at terrifying speed. Jong reacts just in time, barely dodging it. The girl shouts for him to be careful, and even one immortal tenses up watching. Without hesitation, Jong rushes forward, using his speed to get behind Mad Saber. Mad Saber smirks, calling him an idiot and acknowledging his blink skill, but instead of panicking, he reacts instantly. Jong attacks, but Mad Saber slips away just as fast. Jong realizes his third hit was blocked. He immediately changes tactics, deciding to rely on his agility and kite instead of forcing direct exchanges. With his agility nearing 90, his movement becomes almost untouchable. Spectators watching the live stream go wild. Some say his speed must be over 70 agility, while others refuse to believe any player has reached that level yet. But critics quickly jump in, saying Jong doesn't dare to fight head-on, and that Mad Saber is still in control. As Jong circles and attacks again, he analyzes the situation. Mad Saber isn't wasting a single movement. His defense is precise, clearly anticipating the 3 rings combo and blocking the 3rd hit every time. Jong realizes he's already dealt around 500 damage, yet Mad Saber hasn't even used a healing item. His HP pool must be massive. At the same time, Mad Saber is analyzing him just as carefully. He concludes that Jong's speed and attack rhythm are dangerous, but predictable. As long as he defends the 3rd strike, Jong's burst isn't enough to threaten him. Confidence spreads across Mad Saber's face. Meanwhile, the livestream chat turns toxic, with viewers saying this is all Jong has to offer and calling him a disappointment. Others praise Mad Saber's mechanics as top tier. Outside the fight, Zhang Gangtianxia issues a cold order, telling his men to block the revival point outside the Batcave. His plan is simple. The moment Zhang dies and respawns, they will kill him again and again until he's forced all the way down to level 0. Zhang Gangtianxia watches the duel with a cold smile, thinking that once Grand Dream is finished, he'll recruit blood-drinking Mad Saber into the Jong-Hang group. With someone like him on their side, their reputation would skyrocket, and he himself could climb higher in the company. Meanwhile, in the middle of the fight, Zhang realizes something is wrong. He thinks that even though he's been attacking non-stop at maximum speed, he still can't break through Mad Saber's defense. Mad Saber confirms it himself, calmly saying that Zhang's offense is sharp, but as long as he can predict the direction of the attacks, it's nothing special. The girl suddenly notices something strange and points out that Mad Saber's HP is recovering on its own. One immortal immediately understands and says it must be a hidden class ability, one that allows him to regenerate HP rapidly after taking damage. That realization makes the situation even worse. Now it's not just about breaking through his defense. Zhang also has to outpace his healing. But Zhang doesn't panic. Instead, he keeps thinking, searching for a way to break through, because if he can't find a solution soon, this fight is already decided. Mad Saber sneers, calling Zhang trash and saying he'll show him what real critical damage looks like. His aura flares up as he begins charging a powerful attack. Zhang immediately senses something is off. He realizes this charging state is dangerous and decides he has to interrupt it. He rushes in, attacking as fast as possible, but even then, he can't tell how much HP Mad Saber actually has. Mad Saber suddenly shouts for him to die and unleashes a Gale Burst Slash. The attack is massive. Zhang barely escapes using Blink, thinking that without it, his HP would have been wiped out instantly. Mad Saber laughs and says his skill can be used consecutively, mocking Zhang and asking if Blink can do the same. Zhang quickly analyzes the timing, realizing there must be a short gap between activations. He prepares to counter during that window, but before he can act, Mad Saber launches another Gale Burst Slash. This time, it hits. Zhang is sent reeling, his HP plummets. He barely manages to stay standing with just a sliver left, realizing how absurd the damage is. Mad Saber revels in it, laughing wildly. Around them, one immortal and the others grow tense, feeling that even Zhang might not be able to win this. The Jong-Hang group celebrates early, convinced their victory is guaranteed. Mad Saber prepares his final attack, declaring that this is where Zhang's journey ends and that from now on, it will be his era. He mocks Zhang, saying that running into him was just bad luck, and that he'll gladly take all his gear. Zhang, however, thinks differently. He realizes he's been waiting for this exact moment. As Mad Saber continues mocking him, Zhang steadies himself. Even as another hit lands, pushing him to the brink, he remains focused. Then he says that triggering it once is enough. In that instant, the Fallen Dagger's effect activates. A massive number explodes across the screen, -3987 damage. Everything freezes. Mad Saber's expression shifts from confidence to shock. As he fades, he refuses to accept it, insisting he hasn't lost. Around them, everyone is stunned, unable to understand what just happened. The boss stares at the damage number and shouts in disbelief, asking what that 4-digit damage even was. Zhang, calm and steady, simply says that he won. Even one immortal and the others can't process what just happened. The live stream chat explodes. Some accuse Zhang of cheating after seeing such absurd damage, while others point out that his weapon, the Fallen Dagger, ranked number 1, is the reason. A debate instantly breaks out, with people arguing that it's no less unfair than a hidden class fighting an unclassed player. Meanwhile, Zhang Gangtianxia is completely shaken. He mutters that blood-drinking Mad Saber is supposed to be the strongest solo player, yet he still lost, and worse, he just handed all the spotlight to Grand Dream. Furious, he orders his people to shut down the live stream immediately. The drones are pulled down, cutting off the broadcast. Back on the battlefield, Zhang notices something on the ground. Mad Saber dropped items. 2 of them. A notification notification appears. Asterisk Edgebreaker class change medal hidden. Asterisk White Fox tribe treasure map unique. Jong realizes these must be the rewards from the little white fox boss that Mad Saber defeated earlier. He thinks to himself that he just hit the jackpot. But before he can even celebrate, the boss gives a cold command. He tells everyone to attack immediately while Jong is still low on HP. In an instant, the entire Jong-Hang group charges toward him. As the Jong-Hang group charges in, one immortal and the other step in instantly. They shout back at Zhang Gang Tianxia and strike first, landing a clean hit that disrupts the attack. Zhang Gang Tianxia is furious, asking how they dare interfere. But before he can recover, they press the advantage and take him down. One immortal calmly reminds him that, as he said himself, striking first gives the upper hand. With their leader down, the rest of the Jong-Hang members hesitate. Zhang steps forward and coolly points out that it's now 4 against 3, asking if they still want to continue. That's all it takes. Their confidence collapses. One tries to rally the group, shouting about their Jong-Hang spirit, but it doesn't last. The moment they remember Zhang's damage, panic spreads. They start backing off, then outright run. Some shout that 3,000 plus damage is too terrifying, others refuse to tank, and soon the entire group turns and flees. Even the ones trying to act tough give up and chase after their teammates. The immortal group watches them go, laughing at how quickly their so-called spirit disappeared. With the battlefield finally quiet, one immortal turns to Zhang and hands over the loot. He says this was originally meant for him anyway, and is now returning it to its rightful owner. Zhang looks through the items, gear and medals dropped by both blood-drinking Mad Saber and Zhang Gang Tianxia. Among them is the Edgebreaker hidden class medal and some additional gear like Night Bat gauntlets. Zhang says he'll only take the Edgebreaker medal, reasoning that from the name, it's likely a high attack speed assassin type class, which fits him perfectly. One immortal is overwhelmed and even gets emotional, asking if he can hug Zhang. Zhang politely declines. The girl then excitedly invites Zhang again to join the immortal tech group, saying their team has a great atmosphere and he'd definitely enjoy it. Zhang thanks her but says that if he ever decides to join a group, they'll be the first he contacts. Just then, one immortal casually mentions that he has already transferred 100,000 star coins to Zhang. Zhang is surprised and reminds him that they agreed on 20,000 per person carried, and that the total shouldn't be that high. One immortal tells Zhang to hear him out first. He explains that during this Batcave run, the immortal group gained dozens of class medals and even secured 2 crucial hidden class medals. With this, their organization could rise to top-tier status almost instantly, and it's all thanks to Zhang leading them. He adds that Zhang just publicly defeated blood-drinking Mad Saber, meaning Grand Dream is now recognized as the strongest player in New Origin. The company's higher-ups have already instructed him to build a strong relationship with Zhang, and that the 100,000 star coins are nothing compared to his value. Zhang understands and thanks him. In his mind, though, the number hits hard. 100,000 star coins means his family's life can completely change. Medicine, food, everything becomes possible. One immortal then says that Immortal Jujo has already revived outside the cave and that they're heading to regroup. Zhang agrees but says he wants to explore further ahead since the exit leads to a new map. They part ways there. The girl teases one immortal, asking why he didn't try harder to recruit Zhang. He jokes back, embarrassing her, and she reacts flustered. As they leave, one immortal reflects that the name Grand Dream will soon become a nightmare for all players, and that he's lucky Zhang is an ally, not an enemy. Meanwhile, Zhang continues deeper alone. He notices something strange. The path feels different, too quiet. There isn't a single player around. Then the temperature drops. His breath starts turning into visible mist. He frowns, wondering if the game's realism is really this extreme. Then his movement slows. His legs feel stiff. He suddenly realizes his feet are freezing. Before he can react, he looks up. A massive creature looms ahead, its jaws opening slowly. A notification appears. Giant Ice Bat Demon, mutated. Level 25, attack 310, defense 60, HP 7000, effects, freeze, bleed. Zhang is completely stunned. He can't believe what he's seeing. A level 25 monster in this area, with stats that are completely absurd. As the giant ice bat demon unleashes waves of freezing attacks, Zhang immediately realizes this monster is on a completely different level from anything he has faced so far. The creature lunges in for a close-range strike. Zhang tries to move, but his feet are frozen solid in place. He struggles, but the ice won't budge. Panic hits him. He thinks that if this continues, he'll die here, and worse, he'll drop his gear. The thought of losing the fallen dagger alone is enough to make his heart sink. With no other choice, he decides to force a class change mid-fight. A notification appears asking if he wants to change class to Wind Whisperer. Zhang immediately confirms. Just as the monster is about to hit him, a voice cuts through the air. A strange melody echoes, and the monster suddenly freezes in place. Zhang is shocked. He didn't do that. Then, thunder crashes. Lightning descends violently, engulfing the monster. A massive damage number appears, ***10, 999 ***. Jong is stunned. 5-digit damage from a single hit. Then the one who saved him steps forward. Lunaria. She casually asks if he's alright. Before Jong can even process it, she tells him to take 3 of her moves and not die. In the next instant, she's already in front of him. Her punch lands straight on his face, knocking him down. Jong barely survives and realizes just how terrifying her speed and power are. Lunaria comments that his reaction speed is decent, but criticizes him for relying too much on skills. Jong tries to track her, but even Eye of Insight can't keep up. She vanishes from his sight completely. He looks around, unable to locate her. Then suddenly, she's behind him. She kicks, but Jong instinctively ducks, narrowly dodging it. He realizes that's 2 moves already. Lunaria smiles, intrigued that he dodged on instinct. Then she draws a weapon and prepares her next strike. Jong protests, saying that using a weapon is unfair. But Lunaria doesn't care, and her final attack is already coming. Lunaria doesn't slow down at all. Instead, she splits into multiple afterimages, her movement so fast it feels like she's using blink over and over without any cooldown. Jong's vision starts to blur, and he realizes that trying to follow her directly is useless. He forces himself to calm down and focuses on one simple goal. He only needs to block the final move. Just one. Then something clicks. He remembers his fight with blood-drinking Mad Saber and finally understands what really happened back then. It wasn't just superior mechanics. Mad Saber had been predicting him. He knew Jong would always attack the weak points revealed by Eye of Insight, and he used that against him. Jong immediately flips that logic. Instead of reacting to Lunaria, he tries to think like her. If he were the one attacking with a final strike, where would he aim? What would be the most unavoidable spot? In that instant, he stops chasing her movements completely. He steadies himself, raises his weapon toward a seemingly empty position, and waits. The attack comes exactly there. He blocks it perfectly. A notification appears, confirming that he has completed Lunaria's trial. Lunaria pauses, clearly impressed. She tells him he's not bad and asks if he's willing to take her as his master. Another notification appears, offering the Temple Inheritance, a unique hidden class. Jong is overwhelmed with excitement. After everything he's been through, he finally made it. Without hesitation, he accepts and eagerly asks what kind of class it is, expecting something incredibly powerful. Lunaria smirks slightly and tells him to listen carefully. Their class is Bard. After hearing that the class is Bard, Jong can't help but feel a little disappointed. He says it doesn't sound very strong and even asks if it will be more powerful than Wind Whisperer. Lunaria immediately gets annoyed, snapping that theirs is the temple's unique inheritance and telling him not to be so ungrateful. As she knocks him again, Jong complains about how much it hurts. Lunaria then notices something and says that he actually got his hands on the Wind Whisperer class. She admits that although it's nothing special in the eyes of the temple, it's still not bad. Jong quickly asks her to give it back, but Lunaria just scoffs, saying his heavenly fate is quite impressive. Jong is confused and asks what heavenly fate even means. He recalls that she mentioned it before, and now he wants a proper explanation. Lunaria tells him she can't reveal too much, but explains that it's like a hidden luck attribute, something tied to a person's destiny, opportunities, and survival. However, she warns that extremely high heavenly fate always comes with a heavy price. She adds that she can sense that Jong's reason for entering this world is different from others. Jong is shaken and asks what she means. Lunaria then directly asks if his real body in the original world is dying soon. Jong is stunned. In his mind, he wonders if Lunaria is really just a game character, because this game suddenly feels far more complicated than he imagined. Lunaria stops there and says she's already said too much. Revealing more would only bring him trouble. She tells him to wait until he fully inherits the temple's power. Only then will he be able to explore these truths himself. Jong thinks deeply about this. If the temple inheritance is connected to something beyond the game, could it possibly save his real body? Even though nothing is certain, he feels like he has taken a huge step closer to the answer. Without hesitation, he accepts the class. A notification appears confirming that he has successfully changed his class to Bard. His updated stats are displayed: level 12, HP 427/427, mana 410 to 410, attack 61 to 82, defense 42, agility 89, luck 10. Jong looks at his stats and feels confused, saying it doesn't seem like much has changed. He then asks Lunaria about their combat skills, wondering if they have any powerful ultimate abilities like the one she used earlier. Lunaria casually replies that she already told him. Bards are a support class, so they don't have ultimate skills. That hits Jong hard. He immediately accuses her of tricking him. Lunaria sighs and says fine, she'll teach him 3 skills skills first. Jong quickly interrupts and says 4. Lunaria pauses, then agrees. Jong immediately pushes his luck and asks for 5 skills instead of 4. Lunaria instantly shuts him down, saying forget it if he keeps pushing. Jong quickly backs off and says he'll learn. Then the notifications pop up. Each skill costs 20 gold coins. Jong is stunned and asks why everything has a gold coin price. Lunaria casually replies that of course she has to charge an introductory fee, asking if he really thought it would be free. Jong complains that he doesn't even have that kind of money, especially since she keeps taking everything from him. Lunaria shrugs and says he can just exchange items instead, acting like she's being perfectly reasonable. Before Jong can react, a notification appears. His amethyst sword is gone. Lunaria inspects it and comments that it's actually a heavenly god's secret treasure, saying the materials are good, but it was wasted being crafted into a beginner weapon. She says she'll reluctantly accept it. Jong is devastated and shouts about his amethyst sword, but it's already done. The next notifications appear one after another. He has learned Binding Melody, Thunder God Incantation, War God Ode, and Star Sigh. Jong sighs to himself, thinking that she really is a demoness, snatching anything she finds interesting. Then he checks the skills, and his expression changes. Binding Melody can immobilize a target for over 30 seconds. Thunder God Incantation causes enemies to enter a shocked state, making them take double damage. War God Ode boosts attack by 50%, and Star Sigh boosts agility by 50%. All of them last around 100 seconds, with low mana costs and short cooldowns, even at beginner level. Jong is shocked. These buffs are insanely powerful. He realizes that even though Bard sounded like just a support class, these abilities are completely broken. Lunaria smirks and tells him that now he understands. Then she says he should cultivate on his own for now. She'll appear again in the main city next month, and he can ask her questions then. Jong says that he still has a lot of questions, but before he can ask anything, Lunaria disappears. He sighs and decides he'll ask her next time they meet, thinking he should be fine cultivating on his own for now. As he looks around, something catches his eye. He notices a medal on the ground, the one dropped by the giant ice bat demon. He picks it up and sees the notification. Ice Archer class change medal hidden, which allows a class change into the Eden class Ice Archer. Just then, behind him, Lunaria briefly appears again without him noticing. She silently observes him, thinking that even she hasn't fully figured out his heavenly fate, and wonders how he'll go on to defy destiny. Jong, unaware of this, suddenly sees a light ahead and follows it. He steps out and is immediately stunned. The outside of the Batcave is nothing like he expected. It's a breathtaking place known as the Illusion Dream Plains, looking almost like a fantasy wonderland. But before he can take it in properly, a voice calls out to him, demanding to know how he came out of that cave entrance. A girl named Justice Cake, a level 10 apprentice berserker from Team 12, confronts him, saying that their team had already cornered the giant ice bat demon there, and no one else should be coming out. Another girl, Captain Kitten, an apprentice explosive archer, tells him to leave immediately and warns him not to interfere with Team 12's mission. Jong recalls that one immortal mentioned Team 12 before, an organization backed by a large company. He realizes they were probably hunting the same mutated monster he just encountered. Before he can respond, the situation escalates. Justice Cake suddenly attacks, accusing him of taking their target's loot. She says that anyone coming out of that cave must have encountered the giant ice bat demon, and demands that he hand over whatever he got. Justice Cake lunges in, her strike fast and sharp, but Jong blocks it cleanly with his dagger. Captain Kitten immediately realizes something is off. In her mind, she notes that Justice Cake is the fastest striking warrior in Team 12, yet this unknown player just blocked her head on. Her eyes narrow as she observes him more carefully. His dagger is gold tier, his name and level are hidden, and he came out of the Batcave alone. Then it clicks. She tells Justice Cake that they can't let him go. This is Grand Dream. Jong is slightly surprised and asks if they know him. Justice Cake responds that they don't just know him, they know exactly who he is. The player who defeated blood-drinking Mad Saber in a 1v1. Right now, he's basically a walking treasure vault. They demand that if he doesn't want to offend Team 12, he should hand over his weapon and medals immediately. Captain Kitten adds that both of them are hidden class players, and if he even tries to resist, they'll kill him instantly and have their team camp the revival point. It's better for him to just hand everything over obediently. Jong just laughs. He mocks them, asking if they really think having a hidden class makes them special enough to treat him like a piggy bank. Justice Cake warns him again that if he moves, he's dead. Jong doesn't hesitate. He activates a skill Star Sigh. A notification flashes. Agility increased by 50%, bringing his total agility to 134. In the next instant, his speed explodes. Arrows fly toward him, but he dodges them effortlessly, moving like a blur. Justice Cake is shocked, saying he's too fast and assuming he changed into Wind Whisperer. Captain Kitten analyzes quickly, recalling that Wind Whisperer grants massive agility boosts, and realizes they missed their chance to secure that class. She immediately decides they can't keep chasing. If they let this drag on, they'll lose. She tells Justice Cake to use a skill to finish him instantly. Justice Cake agrees and prepares her attack. But Jong remains calm. He even says he'll play with them for a bit. He activates another skill, War God Ode. A notification appears. Attack increased by 50%, raising his attack to 92 to 129. Justice Cake scoffs, saying speed is the only thing he has. Then she throws a punch straight at him. This time, when Justice Cake throws her punch, Jong doesn't dodge. With his boosted stats, he blocks it head-on. The impact lands, but he holds firm. He calmly asks if that's all she's got. Justice Cake is stunned. She says her strength boost is her proudest skill. There's no way it should have been stopped so easily. She can't understand how someone she assumed to be a speed-focused class like Wind Whisperer could have this kind of power. But Captain Kitten snaps her out of it, saying there's no time to hesitate. She immediately resumes the assault, firing arrows in rapid succession. Jong moves again, effortlessly dodging each attack. He casually remarks that they're too slow. Then suddenly, an arrow explodes. Jong is caught slightly off guard and realizes it's an explosive arrow, likely tied to her class. He admits to himself that he was a bit careless. In that brief moment of distraction, Justice Cake appears behind him and declares that she's got him. But Jong reacts instantly. He activates Binding Melody. A strange rhythm pulses through the air, and Justice Cake freezes in place, completely immobilized. She panics, unable to move, shouting in frustration. Jong casually says he didn't see anything, but she snaps back, accusing him anyway. Captain Kitten is shocked. Immobilization like this doesn't match any Wind Whisperer skill she knows. Jong doesn't explain. He simply apologizes and attacks. With his boosted attack power, he finishes Justice Cake quickly. She fades away, shouting his name as her items drop to the ground. Jong doesn't hesitate. He turns his gaze toward the last opponent, Captain Kitten, and calmly says there's only one left. Captain Kitten keeps firing explosive arrows non-stop. Jong quickly realizes how tricky they are. Even if he dodges the arrows themselves, the explosions still chip away at him. Now that she's alone, she's firing even more recklessly, turning the entire area into a blast zone. Even so, Jong keeps weaving through the explosions, closing the distance step by step. In a flash, he gets right behind her and activates Binding Melody again, locking her in place. He immediately follows up with attacks, but to his surprise, she laughs, and then suddenly moves, breaking free and kicking him away. Jong is shocked. Her defense is absurdly high. He decides to rely on his trump card and tries to trigger the Fallen Dagger's 10x damage. But she keeps dodging, mocking him for being too slow and telling him to run faster. Jong tries again, using Binding Melody once more and attacking, but still, no massive damage triggers. Even with War God Ode active earlier, his damage isn't breaking through properly. Something is clearly wrong. Before he can figure it out, she kicks him again, sending him crashing into a rock. At that moment, his buffs expire, his agility and attack boosts disappear. Captain Kitten smirks and explains everything. She admits his skills are impressive, but points out that such powerful buffs must come with heavy mana costs and cooldowns. Then she reveals the key. She's using a hidden item that grants immunity to all critical hits, anti-crit armor. That's why his biggest advantage isn't working. She adds that the effect lasts 3 hours, and the fact that she even had to use it against him proves he's strong. Then she calmly starts healing herself. She says they might as well enjoy these 3 hours, since every bit of damage she deals helps her skill proficiency grow. Fighting someone like him is actually beneficial. More than that, she admits she's enjoying watching him struggle. Jong, however, doesn't look worried. He calmly replies that he should be thanking her. He thought he wouldn't get the chance to practice his last skill, but thanks to her, now he can. He adds that it's actually great she can take so many hits. Captain Kitten pauses, confused, asking what he means. Jong takes a breath and activates his skills again, his voice steady as he calls out the incantations. Star Sigh and War God Ode trigger once more, and his stats surge again. Captain Kitten is shaken. She didn't expect such powerful buffs to be used again so soon, especially without any visible mana recovery. She starts questioning what kind of class he even is. Still, she forces herself to stay calm, reminding herself that no matter how strong his buffs are, he still shouldn't be able to break through her anti-crit armor. But Jong doesn't hesitate. He closes the distance instantly and activates Binding Melody again, locking her in place. She grits her teeth, saying he really doesn't give up. Then Jong follows up immediately, invoking another skill. Thunder God Incantation activates. A notification flashes. Her damage taken is doubled for 100 seconds. Now she can't move, and her defense advantage suddenly doesn't feel so safe anymore. Jong steps right in front of her and calmly says that since she had so much fun shooting arrows earlier, now it's his turn. For the first time, panic shows on her face. She starts questioning what his class actually is. Then something clicks in her memory. She recalls internal intel about rare classes, how among them, the most dangerous one wasn't a damage dealer, but a support class. A class with absurd buffs, low cooldowns, and low mana costs. One that you should never fight head-on. She remembers the warning clearly: if you ever encounter one, run immediately. And now, standing in front of her is exactly that. A bard, the temple's unique inheritance. Captain Kitten is completely shaken. She mutters that this is the temple's inheritance. She can't believe she actually ran into it. Then she looks at Jong and asks how he always has such insane luck. Jong shrugs and says he's curious about that too, but right now he should send her to the revival point. He moves in and attacks. With Thunder God incantation still active, the damage spikes brutally. Captain Kitten can't hold on. As she fades away, she warns that Team 12 won't let him off. The battlefield finally goes quiet. Jong exhales and admits that Thunder God incantation really carried that fight. Then he checks the drops. 2 pieces of gear appear: an explosive bow and a bursting great axe, both silver tier and level 11 equipment. He notes that the anti-crit armor didn't drop, which is expected, but these items are still a solid profit. He plans to sell them to one immortal later and keep an eye out for more hidden items in the future. After that, he finally reaches a safe zone. For the first time in a while, he relaxes a little, thinking about how constantly being targeted has kept his nerves on edge. Before heading toward the Mist River, he pauses. Something feels off. He hears a faint sound and remembers that his communication devices are linked to his helmet. Back in reality, it hits him. Someone is calling him. It's Hua Xiaoxiao. He's surprised and a bit relieved, saying it's been way too long since she last contacted him. Hua Xiaoxiao greets him casually and asks if he liked the gift she sent. Jiang immediately panics when he realizes she's video calling while in the bath and tells her to stop messing around and get back in the tub. She laughs it off, explaining that her cultivation on Saturn leaves her with almost no signal most of the time, so bath time is the only chance she gets to call. Even Jiang, usually serious, gets flustered by the situation. Then her tone softens. She admits she's wanted to call him for a long time. Saturn is incredibly empty, and she has no one to talk to. In their world, high-level awakened often travel across planets in search of better energy fields for cultivation. It's common, but it requires immense wealth and resources. Hua Xiaoxiao's family just happens to have that kind of power. Jiang says that, as expected of a ridiculously rich level 10 awakened, she's been cultivating in outer space ever since she awakened. Hua Xiaoxiao rolls her eyes and says she can't help it. Her grandfather is overly cautious and insists that Earth isn't safe. Jiang then shifts the topic, saying he's been wanting to talk to her about New Origin for a while. He tells her the game doesn't feel as simple as it looks. She teases him, asking if he's just being a noob and trying to blame the helmet she gave him. Jiang denies it and explains what really happened. He met a teacher in the game, and even though she was supposed to be just an NPC, she could see the condition of his real body. Xiao Xiao immediately asks if it's a woman. Jiang gets annoyed and says that's not the point. Then Xiao Xiao gets a bit more serious. She admits she doesn't know every detail, but explains what she's heard. Scientists originally discovered a spiritual world inside a meteorite, and with military funding, they turned it into New Origin. The monsters and NPCs inside aren't just code. They actually exist within that spiritual realm. So the teacher Jiang met is likely a real existence. Jiang is stunned. To him, it feels like he's basically entered another world. Xiao Xiao then reveals why she sent him the game in the first place. It's because the game can influence the physical abilities of awakened in real life. She believed that for Jiang, this might be a real chance to survive. Then her tone turns firm. She tells him he's not allowed to die. Jiang quietly replies that he understands. She then asks if his ALS-like condition has flared up recently and says he should tell her if he needs anything. Jiang brushes it off, saying he'll handle it himself, then awkwardly tells her to put some clothes on while she's still on camera. Right at that moment, his sister Yena walks in, saying he has a package. She sees the screen and freezes. Xiao Xiao cheerfully greets her, starting to introduce herself, but Jiang panics and immediately cuts the call. He turns to Yener, desperately trying to explain that it's not what it looks like, but she's already in shock. She runs off shouting that their mom needs to come see this because her brother is with a girl. Jiang tries to stop her, saying it's a misunderstanding, but his body suddenly weakens. He realizes he's running out of energy again. After Jiang explains everything, Yener asks if the New Origin helmet was really given to him by that girl. Jiang quickly tells her to keep her voice down, worried their parents might hear and confiscate it if they find out he's been staying up late playing. Yener gets excited and says she wants to play too. Jiang apologizes and explains that the helmet is locked to one user's iris, so she can't use it. She doesn't give up and says she wants one anyway, but then casually mentions the price. 1 million star coins. Jiang is stunned and asks her to repeat that. She explains it's the limited Supreme Edition, capable of fully simulating all 5 senses. Only the rich or powerful can afford it. She even adds that people say you can smell the fragrance of flowers hours in-game with it. Jiang realizes just how valuable the gift from Hua Xiaoxiao really is and admits to himself that he now owes her a huge favor. Yenner then lowers her expectations and says even a cheap bracelet version would be fine. At that moment, their second brother walks in, scolding Yenner for bothering Jiang and reminding her about his condition. She immediately apologizes. Then Jiang surprises both of them. He transfers money to them and tells them to buy game bracelets and use it freely, saying he earned it in-game. They're shocked at the amount. Yenner asks how he got so much, but Jiang just tells them not to worry about money and to leave it to him. Both siblings light up with excitement, and Yenner cheers happily while the other brother tells her to calm down. Jiang then gives them instructions. He tells them to level up first and inform him once they reach level 10. Most importantly, he warns them not to rush into choosing a class. They both agree. In his mind, Jiang reflects that since he already became a bard, he'll save the 2 hidden class medals for them. If this game truly enhances the abilities of Awakened in real life, then it's not just a game, it's a path to survival for his family. Then Yenner asks for his in-game ID so they can find him. Jiang hesitates and says he's no longer in the beginner village. Yenner then asks him something unexpected, if he knows Grand Dream. The second brother looks confused and says that Grand Dream is a strange name, asking who that even is. Yenner immediately reacts, saying he seriously doesn't know. She explains that Grand Dream is now the #1 player in the game. Her classmates keep talking about him, saying he's insanely strong and that everyone wants to team up with him. Then she turns to Jiang and asks if he knows him. Jiang pauses for a moment and thinks to himself that he's already gotten this famous. Yenner keeps going, saying she heard Grand Dream has taken multiple first kills on wild monsters and even defeated the strongest solo player. Because of that, a lot of people are now hunting him down. She confidently adds that he must be some powerful Awakened expert in real life too. Jiang, however, quietly thinks that's not necessarily true. Sensing things are getting a bit intense, the second brother steps in and tells Yenner to calm down, saying they already know Grand Dream is amazing and that Jiang needs to rest. Yenner still tries to continue, but gets cut off. Later, Jiang takes his medicine and is shocked by the cost, 5 doses for 10,000 star coins. Still, he reassures himself that at least it can temporarily suppress his condition. But deep down, he knows the truth hasn't changed. He still only has 6 months left. He reflects that both his family's future and his own chance at survival now depend entirely on New Origin. There's no turning back. He has to keep pushing forward. He puts on the helmet again. A notification appears, welcoming him back into the game. When he logs in, he finds himself in Mist Village, surrounded by a large crowd of players. He's surprised far more people made it through the Batcave than he expected, and some are already level 8 or higher. He wonders how they even managed to get there. Looking around, he asks what's going on and why so many people are gathered. A player named Lulu, level 9, tells him that they're all here trying to trigger an apprenticeship quest, but it's useless so far because Lady Angel hasn't opened her door even once. Jiang is confused and asks what apprenticeship quest they're talking about. The player explains that this is the residence of Apothecary Angel. Many players deliberately avoided fighting in the Batcave and rushed here just to unlock the quest. Jiang is surprised and asks if it's actually possible to bypass the bats entirely. The player laughs and calls him a complete newbie, then offers to explain how it works. Jiang smiles and thanks him, ready to listen. The other player continues, saying Jiang must know Grand Dream. He mentions that someone supposedly saw Grand Dream become an apprentice and obtain the temple inheritance, which is rumored to be the strongest class at this stage. He even admits that when he saw Jiang hiding his ID and level, he thought he was just another player trying to imitate him. Jiang pauses, thinking to himself that maybe someone really did see him back then. The player keeps talking, saying Grand Dream has a huge fan base now. After all, he's considered the #1 player with the strongest class. There are even groups still inside the Batcave searching everywhere, trying to trigger the same temple inheritance quest. Jiang quietly thinks that Lunaria has already left, so they're searching for something that's no longer there. At that moment, another player, level 12 Demon Child, steps forward arrogantly, declaring himself the strongest. He scoffs at the hype, saying that no matter how strong Grand Dream is, he's still just a support class. He claims that once he obtains Lady Angel's inheritance, he'll defeat Grand Dream easily. Hearing that, Jiang feels a bit uneasy. He realizes that information about his class has already started spreading. He suspects it might be because of the 2 players from Team 12 earlier. Trying to stay low-key, he asks who this Lady Angel is. The other player looks at him like he's clueless and and asks if he never reads forum guides, wondering how he even made it through the Batcave. Then he tells Jong to just check the description of a red health potion. Jong is confused but takes one out and looks at it. The description shows it's a basic healing item that restores 50 HP over time and costs 20 copper coins. Nothing unusual at first glance. But then he notices something important. The recipe is attributed to Apothecary Angel. Jong realizes what that implies, that all potion recipes in the game might originate from her. The other guy confirms that nearly 98% of the potion recipes currently available all come from Lady Angel. Jong brushes it off, asking why he's acting so smug about it. Meanwhile, the level 12 demon child starts shouting loudly, complaining that he died 3 times in the Batcave before getting out and demanding that Angel come out so he can become her apprentice. The others try to stop him, saying shouting won't help, but suddenly the door opens. A butterfly-like figure steps out, radiating an overwhelming presence. Jong immediately checks her level and is stunned, level 99. He thinks to himself that this is on a completely different level from anything he's seen before. Demon Child arrogantly steps forward, claiming he was the one who called her out and telling everyone not to compete with him. But before he can finish, the butterfly moves. In a single instant, she attacks him. Demon Child is left confused, asking what just happened and how he was hit in a safe zone. Jong, watching carefully, is shocked. He didn't even see her starting motion. If that attack had been aimed at him, he wouldn't have had time to react at all. Then the butterfly calmly calls out Jong's name, telling Grand Dream to come inside. Jong is surprised, wondering why she's calling him specifically. The crowd outside immediately erupts. People realize who he is. The guy who was just talking to him is stunned, saying Jong is actually Grand Dream, while others shout that a big shot has appeared. Jong apologizes for hiding his identity and thanks the guy for the helpful information, which makes the fan nearly tear up with excitement. As Jong walks inside with the butterfly, the crowd continues buzzing. Some comment that he looks younger than expected. Others complain about why he was chosen, while a few warn them not to even try entering unless they want to get cut down instantly. Inside, Jong is greeted by a beautiful place filled with plants, almost like a hidden sanctuary. As he walks further in, he finally meets Apothecary Angel. She looks at him and bluntly says that although he's Grand Dream, he looks weak. Jong stays calm and respectfully asks why she called him here. Angel calmly tells him that Kiki's earlier attack must have frightened him and offers an apology gift. Jong looks at the item in confusion, and a notification appears, **** Swift Potion, Saint Tier, ***, granting plus 800% agility instantly for 40 seconds. He is completely stunned, realizing this effect is even more outrageous than his own skills. Angel smiles and tells him that this is just one example, and that she can provide many other powerful potions as well. Jong is tempted, asking if she's serious. Angel confirms it and then reveals her condition. If he accepts her guidance and changes his class to Apothecary, he can have everything she offers. She even reassures him that the usual class change restrictions won't be a problem, implying she has a way to bypass them. Hearing this, Jong becomes cautious. He can't understand what she's truly planning. Still, he politely thanks her and says he has no intention of changing his class for now, preparing to leave. Angel's expression shifts slightly, and then she drops a shocking statement. She says she can cure his ALS-like disease. Jong freezes. She explains that she, like his teacher, can see the condition of his real body, but unlike Lunaria, she claims she can directly cure it. She asks him to reconsider. Jong is shaken to his core. This was the very reason he entered the game in the first place. A disease declared incurable in the real world, and now someone is saying it can be fixed. For a moment, he hesitates, but then he thinks about Lunaria, unreliable, scheming, always taking things without asking, yet still the one who gave him this path. He steadies himself. He says that he likes the bard class and continues walking away. In his heart, he half jokes that if his teacher doesn't help him after this, he'll haunt her even after death. As he leaves, a notification appears. He has completed a hidden quest, Angel's Trial, with the requirement being to reject Apothecary Angel's offer. Another notification follows immediately. He has triggered the next stage of the hidden quest, requiring him to survive under Kiki's attack for 1 minute. As Butterfly Kiki prepared to attack, Jong immediately realized the trial had already begun. The moment her strike came down, he instantly used Blink to retreat backward, barely dodging it. While moving away, he thought to himself, wondering what exactly was going on, and why such a hidden quest had suddenly been triggered. Angel watched with a smile and praised him for managing to dodge. She even asked if he had prepared for this beforehand. Jong, however, stayed cautious. He had already sensed from the beginning that Kiki was filled with killing intent toward him. Ever since he entered the room, she had clearly wanted to take him down. Angel inwardly praised him for being sharp, then immediately ordered Kiki not to give him any time to chant his skills. But as Jong dodged another incoming attack, he calmly revealed that he had already finished chanting chanting earlier, right when he turned around to leave. He admitted that although Angel's smile looked cute and harmless, he never trusted kindness that came without reason. The timer showed 51 seconds remaining. Kiki attacked again, and Jong barely escaped. He thought to himself how close that strike had been, realizing she could catch up to him almost instantly. 38 seconds remaining. Another slash came. Jong started wondering just how much agility Kiki actually had. 22 seconds remaining. He continued dodging desperately. 10 seconds remaining. Angel suddenly noticed something strange. Even with Jong's skills, it shouldn't have been possible for him to dodge Kiki this consistently. Then her eyes shifted toward the table nearby. The swift potion was gone. She immediately realized Jong must have secretly drunk it earlier. Jong burst out laughing, finally admitting it. He said she had finally noticed and praised the Saint Tier potion for being even more outrageous than he imagined. Thanks to it, his agility had already surpassed 1,000. Angel instantly became furious. She shouted that he actually dared to drink her Saint Tier potion without permission and ordered Kiki to stop holding back and kill him immediately. Kiki responded with an even more terrifying strike than before. Seeing the sheer power behind the attack, Jong realized there were less than 10 seconds left and that there was no way he could dodge normally anymore. So instead of retreating, he rushed straight toward Angel herself. At the last second, Jong smirked and moved aside. Kiki's deadly attack was suddenly about to hit Angel instead. Realizing this, Kiki's expression changed instantly, and she forcefully pulled her sword back before it could land. The countdown finally reached 0. A notification appeared, announcing that Jong had completed the hidden quest Angel's Trial 2, with the requirement being to survive Butterfly Kiki's attacks for 1 full minute. At the same time, both the Star Psi Agility bonus and the Swift Potion's Saint Tier Agility bonus expired. Jong collapsed onto the ground in exhaustion, relieved that it was finally over. He admitted to himself that Kiki was truly terrifying, but before he could relax, he suddenly sensed another overwhelming attack being prepared. Shocked, he protested that the time limit was already over. Kiki ignored him completely and rushed forward again to strike. Jong instantly realized things were bad. Without his buffs, there was no way he could dodge anymore. He thought to himself that this was probably the end. But just before Kiki's sword could land, another weapon flew in and knocked her blade away. A familiar voice appeared behind them. It was Lunaria. She casually scolded Jong, saying he really had some nerve since she heard all the things he said about her earlier. Jong was shocked and immediately called out, "Teacher!" Lunaria patted him on the head and lectured him, saying that blindly trusting the time limit set by an enemy was exactly what put him in danger. She told him he was still too inexperienced. Then she turned toward Kiki and Angel, reminding them that if they set a 1-minute rule, they should at least follow it properly. Angel looked annoyed and asked why Lunaria suddenly interfered. Lunaria replied that this was her disciple. Angel immediately argued back, calling it her trial instead, and then referred to Lunaria as her older sister. Hearing the word sister, Jong was completely stunned. Lunaria then formally introduced them, revealing that Apothecary Angel was actually her younger sister and also the person she found to help treat Jong's real-world condition. Notifications appeared showing their titles, Temple Bard Lunaria and Saint Tier Apothecary Angel. Lunaria explained that Angel insisted on testing Jong before agreeing to help him, though she admitted the trial clearly went too far and looked more like personal revenge than training. Angel defended herself, arguing that Jong was supposedly the sole disciple of the Temple Inheritance, so of course she needed to see whether he was actually worthy of it. Watching the two sisters argue, Jong could only think one thing. Both of them were complete demonesses. Still, deep down, he felt grateful that Lunaria was willing to go this far to help him. Lunaria quickly tells Jong not to misunderstand her intentions. She says she simply doesn't want the heir of the Temple Inheritance to die young because he's far more useful to her alive than dead. Angel immediately mocks her, saying Lunaria clearly couldn't hold herself back earlier and was obviously affected by Jong's emotional nonsense. She even calls it disgusting that someone her sister's age could still get emotionally moved so easily. Annoyed, Lunaria grabs Angel and threatens to send her straight to heaven if she keeps talking nonsense, telling her to stop wasting time and heal Jong already. Angel stubbornly refuses, saying Jong's life or death has nothing to do with her anyway. She adds that he still hasn't passed her final training. The moment Jong hears the words final training, he freezes in shock. Then a notification suddenly appears. You have triggered the hidden quest, Angel's Training 3, unique. Quest requirement, craft a low-tier Swift Potion. Lunaria is immediately shocked after hearing Angel's request. She reminds her that she spent an entire month researching just to successfully create the Swift reagent in the first place. Angel coldly replies that if Lunaria has so little faith in her own disciple, then she should simply take him back because she still has many things to do today. Jong nervously asks whether crafting the the Swift potion is really that difficult. Angel starts mocking Lunaria, saying that although her older sister has absolutely no combat talent, the effects of her potions are truly exceptional. Lunaria continues the explanation herself, saying that even a low-tier Swift potion can provide a 50% agility buff. Hearing that number, Jong is stunned. He points out that a 50% agility increase is already almost comparable to the buff skills of bards. Lunaria agrees and says that Angel originally started researching potions simply because she wanted to prove she was better than her older sister. She calls it childish. Angel immediately denies that, insisting it isn't childish at all. She proudly claims that anything a bard can do, she can also achieve through potions. Lunaria then warns Jong that high buff potions are incredibly dangerous to develop. She reveals that while Angel was creating the Swift potion, she ended up blowing up 3 separate laboratories. Angel dismisses the comment and tells Jong to stop wasting time. If he wants her help, then he needs to pass this training first. She warns him to watch carefully because she will only demonstrate the process once. Jong immediately focuses and says he's ready. Internally, he plans to use Eye of Insight to observe every detail of her movements as clearly as possible. Angel begins the demonstration. She explains that the first step is extracting the seeds from explosive stargrass. The seeds are hidden deep inside the leaves, and crushing them with a pestle would ruin them. Instead, they must be carefully squeezed out by hand. She continues explaining each step one after another with incredible precision. At one point, she mentions that the ice marrow must be exposed to the air until it reaches equilibrium with the surroundings, and that gently rotating the wrist can speed up the process, though constant observation is required. Later, she carefully explains how to control the flame during distillation. As Jong watches, he becomes more and more shocked. Angel's movements are unbelievably smooth and refined, almost like flowing water. He realizes that if he loses focus for even a second, he'll miss important details. At the same time, he remembers the ranking system for classes and professions: apprentice, beginner, intermediate, advanced, transcendent, grandmaster, and finally Saint Tier. Even though apothecary is technically considered a lifestyle profession, Jong realizes that reaching Saint Tier means Angel stands at an almost impossible height within the system, a true 1 in a million genius. Angel finally reaches the last step of the process and explains that the final task is to integrate a fingernail-sized wind element crystal into the reagent. She warns Jong not to rush and to wait until the crystal is completely fused with the mixture. Once the demonstration is complete, she casually steps aside and tells him it's his turn now. According to her, all he has to do is follow the instructions exactly as shown, so it should be simple. But inwardly, Angel is already mocking him. She notices that Jong never even bothered taking notes and wants to see how badly he embarrasses himself. Then, almost as an afterthought, she coldly adds one more warning. To make sure he doesn't blow up her laboratory, Kiki will immediately cut him in half the moment he makes a mistake during any step. Hearing that, Jong can only think that Angel is even more of a demoness than Lunaria. Still, he admits to himself that the explanation was incredibly detailed, which gives him at least some confidence. Lunaria asks him seriously whether he's confident enough to try, warning him not to force himself too hard. Jong calmly replies that he still wants to attempt it. Lunaria nods and allows him to continue. Meanwhile, Angel quietly reflects on how difficult the apothecary class truly is. Unlike ordinary classes, it has no system assistance whatsoever. The complexity has already gone far beyond what normal Earth players would even consider a game mechanic. She remembers how hard she studied back when she first developed the Swift reagent and how much Lunaria mocked her at the time. Now she wants to see exactly how capable Lunaria's disciple really is. As Jong takes his position and prepares to begin, Lunaria asks Angel one more time whether she'll really help him if he succeeds. Angel questions why Lunaria has so much confidence in him. Lunaria explains that although the world has been modified by humans from Earth, making many ordinary classes easier by allowing players to automatically learn skills, the Temple Inheritance and Angel's Apothecary class were never altered that way. They still function according to their original rules. She reminds Angel that the Bard class isn't something a player can simply obtain by picking up a class medal. Having the medal alone doesn't mean someone is qualified to inherit it. Angel pauses after hearing that and asks what exactly Lunaria means by that. Lunaria explains that in order to gain the approval of the temple's successive supreme elders, an inheritor must perfectly recite a long an extremely complicated ancient incantation contract. If even a single word is pronounced incorrectly during the recitation, the temple will reject them instantly, and they only get one chance. She explains that the incantation is written in an ancient language that doesn't even exist on Earth. Originally, she believed Jong would need at least 3 days just to memorize it since he couldn't possibly understand its meaning. But instead, he only needed 10 minutes. After she recited it once, Jong remembered every single sentence perfectly, including the exact pronunciation and order, almost without a single flaw. Angel is visibly shocked hearing this. Lunaria continues by recalling a conversation she once had with Jong. She says she asked him what was wrong with his memory because it had already completely surpassed the limits of ordinary humans. Back then, Jong explained that when he was 8 years old, his parents discovered he had a photographic memory. They were overjoyed and proudly called him a genius. According to him, his memory had no limits at all. No matter how much information he encountered, he could instantly memorize it forever without forgetting. But shortly after that discovery, he suddenly collapsed and was diagnosed with his ALS-like disease. At that time, his parents stopped seeing his intelligence as a blessing and instead began viewing it like a curse. Jong remembered them saying that supreme intelligence brings harm and excessive talent shortens a person's life. After telling Angel this story, Lunaria confidently declares that a mere 30-step potion experiment could never truly challenge Jong. Earlier, her only concern was whether he would be able to physically execute the process correctly even after memorizing it. But now, it seems even that concern was unnecessary. At that moment, Angel suddenly notices something shocking. Jong has already reached the final step and is calmly preparing the wind element crystal. Her eyes widen. She realizes she never had to interrupt him even once. That means every single step Jong performed was completely correct from beginning to end. For the first time, even Angel can't believe what she's seeing. Jong finally completes the final step and excitedly announces that he succeeded. Immediately, a notification appears confirming the creation of a low-tier swift potion, granting a 50% agility increase instantly for 40 seconds. Another notification follows, stating that he has completed the hidden quest Angel's Trial 3, whose requirement was crafting 1 bottle of the potion. The system then rewards him further. He levels up to level 13, gains 5 available attribute points, and even receives 5 intermediate swift potions as a reward. Angel silently takes the potion from him and examines it closely. Internally, she's genuinely shocked. Jong managed to perfectly recreate the swift potion after only seeing the process once. As an apothecary herself, she understands how absurd this is. The more potion formulas an apothecary develops, the easier it becomes to hit a bottleneck due to memory limitations. Every potion requires enormous theoretical knowledge and precise execution. Because of that, photographic memory is practically the ultimate dream ability for apothecaries. She even recalls that she once tried developing potions to increase memory capacity, but every attempt failed because there was no precedent to build from. And now, standing before her, is someone with the strongest memory she has ever seen. Lunaria looks proud watching her disciple succeed, clearly happy with him. But suddenly, Kiki steps forward and injects something directly into Jong's neck. Jong immediately collapses. Lunaria is alarmed and demands to know what Angel just injected into him. Angel calmly explains that it's only being used to probe Jong's Spring of Souls in order to uncover the secret behind his extraordinary memory. As she begins examining it, Angel reflects that the Spring of Souls represents a person's spiritual world. Normally, people with stronger memories possess larger spiritual worlds. Ordinary people usually only have something like a tiny stream. She remembers checking Lunaria's Spring of Souls before and being infuriated because it resembled an enormous waterfall. While thinking that, she also grumbles internally that Lunaria is ugly and fierce. At the exact same moment, Lunaria suddenly sneezes. Angel then turns her focus back to Jong and initially assumes his spiritual world is nothing special. But then she suddenly notices something strange deep within it. There is a powerful light hidden behind the Spring of Souls. As she looks closer, she realizes the entire area is overflowing with water, far beyond anything she expected. Something enormous seems to be hidden behind it. As Angel continues exploring Jong's spiritual world, she suddenly notices something enormous hidden deep within the endless waters, a massive palace standing inside the Spring of Souls itself. She is completely stunned and wonders if it could actually be a mind palace. As she moves closer to inspect it, she recalls the ancient legend saying that only supreme beings with unimaginably powerful divine consciousness are capable of constructing mind palaces within their spiritual worlds. But the moment she approaches, a terrifying voice suddenly roars at her to get out. Instantly, Angel is blasted out of Jong's spiritual world. The force throws her backward so hard that she crashes directly into Lunaria. Lunaria quickly catches her and asks what happened. Still shocked, Angel explains that inside Jong's spiritual world, there is actually a mind palace. Even Lunaria is stunned after hearing those words. Meanwhile, Jong is confused and asks what a mind palace even is. Angel excitedly tells him that it's her first time ever seeing one in person and calls it absolutely spectacular. Jong awkwardly laughs and casually says he just has a habit of organizing his knowledge. Lunaria looks strangely pleased hearing that answer. After calming down, Angel finally agrees to help Jong, but says she has one condition. Lunaria immediately warns her not to push her luck and questions why she's still making demands after all this. Angel complains that Lunaria is hurting her while grabbing her, then reveals her condition. She wants Jong Chang to also inherit her apothecary lineage. Jong is surprised and asks how she suddenly knows his real name. Angel smugly explains that since she entered his spring of souls, naturally she learned it there. She even tells him to call her teacher from now on. Lunaria shrugs and says she doesn't particularly care if Jong learns a few survival skills from Angel, as long as he maintains his identity as the Temple Inheritance's disciple. Angel instantly gets annoyed at being called an amateur and threatens Lunaria not to use her potions anymore if she keeps insulting her. Jong hesitantly asks whether this arrangement is really okay. Lunaria calmly explains that bards are not rigid like other inheritances and that survival is the most important principle in this world. Then she finally gets serious and demands that Angel hand over the potion capable of saving Jong's life. Angel suddenly becomes awkward and quietly admits that she actually hasn't successfully developed that potion yet. Lunaria immediately explodes in anger, furious that after all this time Angel still doesn't truly have a cure. Angel quickly defends herself, saying she never claimed she had absolutely no solution. Then she pulls out another potion and reveals what she calls the reincarnation potion. She explains that if Jong drinks it, then even if his real body dies, his soul will remain alive within this world. Angel confidently asks whether that still counts as a solution. After hearing about the reincarnation potion, Lunaria goes completely silent for a moment. Then she suddenly explodes in anger and starts attacking Angel, shouting that she'll beat her to death today and pretend she never had a younger sister. Apothecary Angel immediately panics and hurriedly stops her, saying she still has one more method. She quickly explains that while the method is extremely difficult, it's not impossible. Lunaria impatiently demands that she explain it immediately. Angel then reveals an ancient legend about a mysterious Styx potion record supposedly scattered somewhere in the world of New Origin. According to the legend, it contains the recipe for a miraculous potion. After drinking it, the user would suffer 8 hours of unbearable bone-breaking pain, but afterward their entire body would be reborn like a phoenix rising from the ashes, completely shedding its old shell and gaining new life. Hearing this, Jong is stunned by the words reborn and new life. Lunaria immediately asks where this potion record is located. Angel awkwardly admits that she has absolutely no idea. Lunaria instantly loses patience again, sighing that after talking for so long, Angel still hadn't actually solved anything. She complains that it was a waste of emotion to expect something reliable from her. Angel immediately gets offended and asks what she means by that. Jong then raises another concern. Even if they really found the legendary potion record and successfully brewed the potion, drinking it inside the game shouldn't affect his ALS-like disease in reality. Lunaria calmly tells him to leave that part to her. As long as the potion can be created, she already has her own method to make the effects influence his real body. Angel confidently reassures Jong as well, promising that once they obtain the potion record, she will personally craft the potion herself. Lunaria immediately accuses her of just wanting to monopolize the potion record for her own research and claims she's shamelessly using Jong's heavenly fate to treasure hunt for herself. Angel protests and insists she's genuinely trying to help. Right then, a notification appears stating that Jong has obtained Angel's potion notes, unique. Angel hands him the notes and explains that they contain potion formulas suitable for his current level. She also grants him permission to freely enter her laboratory in the future and even gather herbs from her garden whenever he wants. Jong sincerely thanks teacher Angel for helping him. Angel proudly asks Lunaria whether she can finally see how dedicated she is to her apprentice. Lunaria simply responds with a quiet Then, about an hour later, Jong is shown holding several freshly crafted potions in his hands. Looking at their effects, he is amazed. Some provide attack and defense bonuses of 50%, which he finds unbelievably powerful. After producing several of them, he decides that the amount he made for now should already be enough. Notifications immediately begin appearing one after another. Jong successfully obtains 100 low-tier swift potions, each granting a 50% agility increase instantly for 40 seconds. Then he also obtains 100 low-tier giant strength potions, each boosting attack and defense by 50% for the same duration. Apothecary Angel looks genuinely impressed and praises Jong, saying he actually managed to succeed on his very first attempt. She happily calls him a truly moldable talent and says she didn't misjudge him after all. all. Then Lunaria reminds Jiang that if he wants clues about the legendary Styx potion record, he'll need to head deeper into the Misty Mountains. According to her, an item of that level could never remain hidden inside already explored regions. Jiang quietly agrees. Lunaria then explains that neither she nor Angel are currently present in their true bodies. This world places many restrictions on their actions, so from this point onward Jiang will mostly have to rely on himself. Hearing this, Jiang internally confirms his suspicion that Lunaria is also connected from another world rather than truly existing as a normal NPC. Lunaria then sighs and wonders aloud whether letting Jiang become Angel's disciple was fulfilling her own wish or simply letting Angel have her way again. Angel immediately laughs and calls it a win-win situation. As Jiang prepares to leave, he suddenly notices how strangely quiet everything outside has become. Then he remembers there's literally a level 99 monster nearby capable of instantly killing players with a single strike. Of course, everyone ran away. As he travels toward town, some players spot him and immediately start spreading the news that Grand Dream has emerged and is heading toward the Misty Mountains. Right then, Jiang receives a message from his younger sister, Jiang Yenner. She excitedly tells him she joined an organization called Flowerful Pavilion and proudly announces that she already reached level 6. She explains that her group bypassed the Batcave and is currently preparing to grind levels near the entrance of the Misty Mountains. She even managed to reserve a spot for him in the party and tells him to hurry over because everyone is gathering there. After reading the message, Jiang can only helplessly think that his little sister actually wants to carry him while leveling. Then he suddenly wonders where Xiaoyu went. Jiang Lu looks at his younger brother and asks why he isn't together with Yenner if she already managed to reach level 6. Xiaoyu helplessly explains that he's still only level 4. The organization Yenner joined, Flowerful Pavilion, only recruits girls, so he couldn't join even if he wanted to. Hearing this, Jiang becomes a little curious. An all-female organization called Flowerful Pavilion was something he had never heard about before. Still, he decides this is actually a good opportunity. Since he already needs to head toward the Misty Mountains anyway, he can also use this chance to observe the organization's strength and character for himself. Soon, he arrives at the foot of the Misty Mountains. The moment Yenner notices him, she excitedly waves and rushes over while shouting for her brother. Jiang immediately notices that she's already reached level 6. Yenner happily asks why she can't see his level or even his player ID. Jiang calmly explains that he hid them, then praises her for leveling up surprisingly quickly. Yenner proudly laughs in response. Nearby, the other Flowerful Pavilion members begin sizing him up. A level 10 apprentice, which named Jasmine snorts and mockingly comments that another person hiding their ID must be trying to imitate Grand Dream and act mysterious. A level 10 apprentice archer named Pomegranate agrees, saying that if their team hadn't recently lost one of their members inside the Batcave, they definitely wouldn't have allowed an outsider to join. Meanwhile, level 10 Red Rose and level 10 Hibiscus also express concerns about whether bringing someone with an unknown background into the party would drag them down. Jiang silently observes them while analyzing the group composition. 1 hidden assassin-type frontliner and 3 backline classes. Their tank clearly died inside the Batcave earlier, which explains why they were willing to temporarily recruit someone like him. They simply needed somebody to stand at the front and absorb damage. Then Red Rose politely steps forward and introduces herself as the Vice Guild Master of Flowerful Pavilion. Jiang calmly introduces himself as Yenner's older brother. Some of the girls continue whispering among themselves, joking that maybe he really is Grand Dream if he's hiding his information so carefully. But another immediately dismisses the idea, pointing out that Grand Dream possesses the number 1 weapon on the leaderboard, while Jiang's current disguised equipment looks like cheap beginner gear picked up from a starter village. Yenner quickly tries to defend her brother, insisting that he has actually been playing the game for a long time already. However, Jiang gently stops her from saying anything more. He calmly thanks the Flowerful Pavilion members for helping his younger sister level up and politely asks them to forgive any childish or reckless behavior from her since she's still young. Yenner immediately pouts in dissatisfaction, clearly unhappy that her brother still refuses to reveal his true identity. Jiang Cheng awkwardly responds that he understands and even thanks them for the compliment. Seeing him remain so calm even while being mocked directly to his face leaves some of the Flowerful Pavilion girls slightly surprised. They quietly feel that he's unexpectedly broad-minded. Then Red Rose explains their current situation. While bypassing the Batcave earlier, the sister responsible for serving as the team's frontline tank failed to make it out alive. Because of that, they now need Jiang to temporarily act as the front line for the party. Jiang calmly agrees without hesitation and immediately says they should get moving. Then he naturally walks to the very front of the team. As he moves ahead, Jong silently thinks that so many things have happened recently that he hasn't even had time to properly check the Wild Monster chat group. He decides that after helping Yenner grind levels for a while, he'll carefully review the messages he missed. Meanwhile, dozens of minutes earlier inside the Wild Monster chat group, the vampire bat angrily complains that both of its hidden class medals were stolen by that hateful Grand Dream. The Sand Snake mocks it for previously bragging that it hid the medals perfectly. The furious vampire bat then complains to the Silver Moon Wolf Cub boss that Grand Dream has gone too far. At that point, the monster known as Triant confidently declares that since Grand Dream has entered the Misty Mountains, it will personally make him taste suffering there. Back in the present, the Flowerful Pavilion party begins battling a huge tree monster. Red Rose quickly gives commands to the group. She orders Jasmine to control the Triant's movement, tells Pomegranate to maintain ranged attacks, asks Hibiscus to monitor everyone's condition and provide healing support, and reminds Jong, whom she casually calls Buddy, that they are relying on him to hold the front line. The enormous Triant roars angrily while attacking the group. A notification appears. Triant level 13. Attack 60 to 70. Defense 30. HP 2000. Special effect Spike Assault. As the monster swings its massive trunk toward the girls, Jong instantly steps forward and slices through the attack path, directly cutting the trunk aside before it can hit anyone. He coldly tells it not to even think about attacking them. The girls are immediately impressed. One excitedly praises Jong for stopping the attack so cleanly, while Red Rose quickly orders Pomegranate to continue firing arrows and wear the monster down while Jong holds it in place. The battle smoothly continues under Red Rose's command. When the Triant's HP drops low enough, Red Rose tells Jasmine to maintain control and not relax at the final moment. Jasmine confidently reassures her to leave it to her. Then Red Rose personally rushes forward and lands the finishing blow herself. The other Flowerful Pavilion members immediately start praising her, calling her finishing strike extremely cool and commenting that she seems to be in especially good condition today. Even Red Rose herself begins feeling more confident, saying that with this pace, they might even be able to gain another level today. As the battle temporarily settled down, Jong silently observed Red Rose and evaluated her in his mind. She remained calm during battle, made quick decisions, and issued clear instructions to her teammates without hesitation. More importantly, the rest of the team trusted her completely. Seeing this, Jong finally relaxed a little. At the very least, Yenner seemed to have found herself a reliable group to level with. Red Rose then praised Jong, saying his reaction speed was incredibly fast and guessing he was probably some kind of speed-oriented warrior class. She admitted that having him as the team's front line made everyone feel much safer. Jong simply replied modestly that she was overpraising him. Not everyone shared her opinion, however. One of the girls scoffed and said all he had done was block a bit of damage, something even her grandmother could do if she were being carried by the team. Another immediately agreed with her. Meanwhile, Yenner excitedly defended her brother and said the way he struck just now looked really cool. But before anyone could continue the conversation, danger suddenly exploded behind them. The supposedly defeated tree monster launched a hidden sneak attack. Jong's eyes instantly sharpened. Without hesitation, he grabbed Yenner and pulled her out of the attack's path while warning her to be careful. The massive strike slammed into the ground moments later. The girls were completely confused about what was happening, but then terrifying notifications suddenly appeared one after another. A boss-tier Triant had appeared with 20,000 HP and attack power exceeding 360. Alongside it were a rare monster Triant and an elite monster Triant, both possessing monstrous stats far beyond normal enemies. The entire Flowerful Pavilion party immediately panicked after seeing the numbers. Red Rose was especially shocked by the boss monster's enormous health pool, while the others hurriedly asked her what they should do next. Even Jong himself was surprised. 3 special monsters appearing together like this was completely abnormal. Yenner nervously called out to her brother, but Red Rose quickly regained her composure and decisively ordered everyone to retreat at once. She correctly judged that their current team had absolutely no possibility of defeating enemies of this level. Jong silently agreed with her assessment. At this moment, escaping the Misty Mountains was the only sensible option. However, just as the group began retreating, another monster suddenly appeared directly in front of them, completely cutting off their escape route. At the same time, more monsters closed in from every direction, surrounding them entirely. Then one of the monsters actually spoke, mockingly asking where they thought they were running. The Flowerful Pavilion members immediately fell into despair. If the monsters here were intelligent enough to speak, then the situation was even more dangerous than they had imagined. One of the girls trembled and muttered that this might really be the end for them. At that exact moment, Jong calmly stepped forward. His voice echoed out clearly as he chanted, "Let the melody become the lock, bind this shell." Binding melody play. The instant the skill activated, the monster rushing toward them abruptly froze in place. After immobilizing the monster for a brief moment, Jong immediately realized their position had already been completely exposed. He quickly pointed toward a massive boulder nearby and told everyone to hide there first. Since the monsters were enormous in size, the group still had an advantage in movement speed. The flowerful pavilion members hurriedly followed him and hid behind the giant rock. Moments later, the immobilized monster regained movement and began searching for them again, its heavy footsteps shaking the ground around the area. One of the girls nervously asked what they were supposed to do next. Jong calmly replied that since they were already trapped anyway, they might as well try fighting back. As he said this, he slowly prepared his weapon. However, one of the skeptical girls immediately frowned and complained that even if his control skill could stop the monster temporarily, this was not the time to act cool and show off. Another agreed with her, questioning whether he had ever even seen a special monster before. In her eyes, there was absolutely no way their group could defeat enemies of this level. But before the complaints could continue, another girl suddenly noticed the dagger Jong had drawn. Her expression instantly changed. She stared at the weapon and quietly pointed out that it looked exactly like the weapon ranked first on the weapon leaderboard, the fallen dagger. The others were immediately shocked and began staring at Jong's weapon more carefully. One girl nervously wondered whether it was really the fallen dagger and whether Jong could actually be Grand Dream himself. Still, some remained doubtful. Another girl argued that many players had recently started imitating Grand Dream by using similar dagger-type weapons. Just because the weapon looked alike didn't necessarily prove anything. One of them then loudly demanded that Jong prove his identity if he really claimed to be Grand Dream. But Jong completely ignored the argument around him. He didn't even bother answering them. Instead, his full attention remained focused on the monsters outside, while Red Rose silently watched him from nearby, her expression becoming more and more serious.